Israel will secure its borders on the West Bank as well as in the north, where Hezbollah has been testing Israel this afternoon. And he also said to prepare the nation for war.
Fox's Jennifer Griffin at the Pentagon. Netanyahu also denying reports that he had a warning from Egyptian intelligence 10 days before the attack. The Palestinian president calling for UN intervention to stop what he calls ongoing Israeli aggression. Meantime, just getting reports Lebanese militants fired rockets into northern Israel. Security sources telling Reuters it's in response to at least 4 Hezbollah members killed during Israeli shelling. One of the Democrats running for president launches an independent bid.
Robert Kennedy Jr. officially broke from the political parties and rebooted his presidential campaign.
A servant only to my conscience, to my Creator, and to you.
In the shadow of Philadelphia's Independence Hall, he declared partisan party politics the problem.
We need to pry loose from the hammerlock of the corrupt powers in Washington, D.C., and make this nation ours again.
And while many feel Kennedy's independent run will siphon votes from each party, he says
they're both right.
He adds he intends to beat both.
Fox's Gernal Scott. Republican Party Chair Ronna McDaniel says voters won't be fooled. America is listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
It could be impacting people you know. 60 degrees, cloudy downtown, no rain at the radar. Low temps drop below 40 tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 3:02. Hoosiers are reacting to the fighting in Israel. Kurt Darling reports that for some, it's impacting them directly.
Helen Kurlander Goldstein is the president of the board of directors for the Jewish Federation of Indianapolis. She tells Wish TV her son lives in Israel and has hunkered down in a bomb shelter.
He's moved from Tel Aviv further inland because of the amount of rocket attacks that are taking place in Tel Aviv.
She also says the mayor of a town close to Gaza, Ophir Lipstein, was killed by Hamas terrorists in his home. Lipstein visited Indiana 3 weeks ago. Kurt Darling, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
3 people were shot on the west side this morning. IMPD says it happened off Moeller Road south of 38th Street just before 11. 2 people were found shot at a home, and a third person was found shot about a mile west. Officers believe the 2 shootings are related, but that's yet to be confirmed. The body of a former Greenwood police officer was found in Craig Park Sunday morning. The Johnson County Coroner's Office is trying to figure out what happened. The man was ID'd as Zane Hennig. An autopsy is going to be performed this afternoon. Foul play is not suspected. Hennig is one of 3 officers that resigned earlier this summer over violating the department's technology use policy. Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett says he cares about transparency.
For the first time, every patrol officer now has a body-worn camera. That simply has never been the case until the Hogsett administration.
In a debate yesterday, his Republican challenger Jefferson Shreve said Hogsett was too slow in helping police fight crime. Their next debate is scheduled for October 23rd. Election Day is November 7th. A television show that you've probably watched is coming to Nashville, Indiana next year. Sam Fritz reports.
The Price is Right Live is coming to Nashville, Indiana in February of 2024. The Brown County Music Center will host the interactive stage show on February 28th. Tickets go on sale this Friday, October 13th at 10 a.m. This tour will feature noteworthy Price is Right games like Plinko, Cliffhangers, and more. Hoosiers who may want to come on down to the event can purchase tickets at browncountymusiccenter.com or in person at their box office. Sam Fritz, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 3:04.
Are you tired of paying these insane rates on your credit cards and other loans? You can cut those payments by hundreds of dollars a month by using the equity in your home. What's up? It's Hammer here from the Hammer and Nigel show. Loan Pronto is here, and they can help you tap that equity and get tens of thousands of dollars in less than a week. Their Equity Express line of credit can get you enough money to pay off all those ridiculous high-interest credit cards or maybe that car loan. You won't lose your 3% mortgage rate. It stays intact. You can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying ridiculous interest rates on those credit cards and get tens or even hundreds of thousands in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto today. 317-953-6525. 953-6525. 953-6525. LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval.
With traffic in the 5s at 3:05, here's Matt Bear.
All right, Harrison, here we go. We're looking at eastbound 465 at I-69. All lanes closed because of a crash involving a semi-trailer. Again, eastbound 465 closed at I-69. And they have shut down the ramp from southbound 69 to southbound 465 to limit the traffic. The whole thing is awful right now as eastbound stop to Keystone, southbound stop to 106. Crash south side, southbound 65 at Edgewood, left lane block. Traffic stopped into 465. Traffic sponsored by Boost Infinite. Hey, thinking of getting the latest iPhone? Then check out the amazing wireless offer from Boost Infinite. For more, just dial pound 250 on your phone and say Boost Infinite. You'll have the option to receive a one-time auto-dial text message from this station's network. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Mostly sunny skies this afternoon. It is going to be a beautiful day, a little bit cooler with highs near 61. Mostly clear, a few areas of frost possible north with lows near 39. I'm Wish TV storm tracking meteorologist Tara Hastings for 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox on the level on the go and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos? So let's rock it!
In this moment of tragedy, I want to say to them and to the world and to terrorists everywhere that the United States stands with Israel. We will not ever fail to have their back. We'll make sure that they have the help their citizens need and they can continue to defend themselves.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got a pork butt on the grill I need tending to. That's your president.
That barbecue still happened on Sunday, didn't it?
That still happened. And by the way, today, President Biden put a lid on everything at about 11:51. You've got Americans being held hostage, Americans slaughtered in Israel, and you put a lid today on your whole thing at 11:51, and then yesterday went ahead with that little barbecue at the White House.
If I had any faith that he was actually working on freeing these Americans or coming up with a plan, I'd be fine with putting a lid on the day. But he's probably going somewhere to take another nap. And this is a problem because Americans have died. And there are reports of more people missing, possibly being held hostage by these Hamas terrorists overseas.
Oh, no, the militants, right? Is that the word you keep seeing in mainstream media? The militants?
Right.
No, they're terrorists backed by a terrorist state, which would be Iran.
Which Biden's been buddy-buddy with. Look, I understand that maybe not all of that $6 billion has been accessed yet by the Iranians. It might still be sitting in an account. But the fact that you went out of your way to give the money to the Iranians, when you know damn well their intents are not good when it comes to citizens of this country. Like, I'm sorry, if I owed O.J. Simpson money, O.J. can probably wait for a while before I'm in a real hurry to scratch that guy a check. But when it comes to Iran, hot damn, Joe Biden can't get enough.
I mean, when they know they have $6 billion coming to them at some point, they could just draw down from another account. It's not that easy to figure this out.
Right. They can spend a little bit of what they have and then know they've got a fallback. And again, death toll around 1,200, depending on which report you see, and that's going to grow. This is grisly stuff,
it's
too.
Awful.
Like for this younger generation, some of these millennials and whoever comes after that, you're going to see some stuff here that you've never seen. This isn't like the movies. This isn't Hollywood, where there are certain things that you think might happen but never do. There are really no rules of engagement here. And some of the videos that I've already seen on social media, Nige, are disgusting.
Yeah, I won't do it. I just can't look at that stuff. I know what's happening, and I'm aware it's going on. I can't do it.
Bibi Netanyahu of Israel claims that Hamas terrorists have kidnapped children, handcuffed children, and executed children. And I'm scrolling through Twitter this past Sunday. You know, it's during the football games, and I'm trying to get a little bit of a break from the real world and just decompress. I'm trying to find the latest on Anthony Richardson's injury. And I follow a lot of news accounts. Some of these videos, man, I saw a guy getting butchered with an axe in his own home. I mean, these are the kind of things that are happening, and we're just getting started. Because if you think Israel is going to just sit back and be diplomatic about this, you're wrong.
No, I think they pretty much have the right to do whatever it is they have to do in order to eliminate Hamas, which includes Israeli boots on the ground in the Gaza Strip. Maybe that's why, breaking news from Reuters, Hamas official says group is open to discussions over truce with Israel.
Yeah, I don't think BB is on board with that.
No, not at all. I will say the footage of missiles raining down upon Israel, but the Iron Dome that's protecting them was pretty damn amazing last night.
So as for our president, Joe Biden himself, in his own words, said he found out about the attack Saturday morning. He said he woke at around 7:30 or 8 o'clock and then began making phone calls.
8 hours after the attack started, right?
Right. Could somebody not wake him up? I'm sorry. There's got to be a bat phone somewhere where you say, I know you're sleeping. I know it's 2 o'clock in the morning, but we've got a major world crisis going on right now that warrants your attention. They let him sleep until 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. And then on Sunday, this scheduled barbecue still took place at the White House. Yeah, now, I'm sorry, if Joe Biden would have came out and said, listen, this barbecue's scheduled, families of the White House, you enjoy it. I'm going back to the Situation Room. I've got work to do. Okay, fine. But that's not what happened. So that shows you how seriously, or the lack thereof, Joe Biden is taking this. Here's an update on what's happening today. This is Fox reporter Trey Yingst.
Hamas, the group that normally controls just Gaza, sending in militants from Hamas and Islamic Jihad on motorcycles and in pickup trucks. They opened fire on a concert that was taking place here in southern Israel, and they went and took over homes in these kibbutz that sit along the border, these small communities where people live, often more religious, more rural population in Israel. And they ultimately took over many of these areas, killing some civilians and capturing others. Hamas, the group in control of Gaza, says that they have taken dozens of Israeli citizens and soldiers hostage. We have seen disturbing video from inside the Gaza Strip of Israelis being dragged through the streets here in southern Israel. Israeli troops worry there are still Palestinian infiltrators in this region. They remain on high alert. What we have seen here along the border, pure devastation. Mothers holding their injured children, pulling them out of cars and putting them into ambulances. Soldiers trying to revive their friends who died in front of our cameras. It is hell on earth for the population of Israel as this conflict has erupted with Hamas. And Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the country is at war.
And it is not going to get better anytime soon. Former UN ambassador and current presidential candidate Nikki Haley, she went on Meet the Press this past weekend, and she makes some valid points here. I want you to listen to Nikki Haley on how this Hamas terror attack should be a warning sign to people here in the United States.
Yeah. What I want the American people to know is what happened when they were dragging those people in the streets. What happened when they were murdering innocent Israelis? The Hamas and the backers who support them, the Iranian regime, were chanting death to Israel, death to America. That's what we have to remember. We are united with Israel because we are united because both Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and the Iranian backers, they hate us. And we have to remember that what happened to Israel could happen here in America. And I hope that we all unite and stand with Israel.
That was Nikki Haley on Meet the Press. And as always, anytime there's a major conflict, there are going to be people who find themselves on the controversial side of things, right? We do have freedom of speech and expression in this country, and it's a great and wonderful gift. It is. But if you ever find yourself protesting in support of the people who are murdering children,
yeah,
you're probably a horse's ass. And this Thursday at 5:30 here on Monument Circle, It's the Free Palestine Day of Resistance. It's a rally for Palestine set at 5:30 right out here on the steps of the monument.
I don't get it. Palestinians in Gaza allowing Hamas to maneuver and plot and operate within that area. And they're on the sides of the people that slaughtered innocent human beings at a concert. At that concert you mentioned, I mean, there was 236 bodies alone gone at that concert. Like you said, elderly people dragged out of their homes, these terrorist attacks. And demonstrations across the country, Hammer, over the weekend in support of that.
Another group supporting these terrorist monsters is Black Lives Matter Indianapolis. At Indy 10 People, BLM, the Indianapolis version of Black Lives Matter. Here's a couple tweets they put out over the last couple of days. Free Palestine. Can, will, and should be in solidarity with Palestine always. What are you prepared to do on behalf of the Palestinian people? Now, I'd like to remind everyone that downtown by IUPUI, or whatever it's called now, Indiana University, Indianapolis, there's a big bridge that connects a couple different things, and it's got Black Lives Matter across it. This is downtown Indianapolis on that school's campus. How would you feel if you were a Jewish student attending IUPUI and you see that up there and the Indy BLM group is out here supporting basically the attempted annihilation of your people in Israel?
Here's another one for you, Hammer. A spokesman for Hamas just said that they are going to start executing civilian hostages they took from Israel on live TV for every airstrike that hits a civilian in Gaza, which happens as a result of Hamas using them as human shields.
And BLM Indy is rooting for that.
Oh, yeah.
Black Lives Matter Indy is rooting for that. So again, think about all those super woke companies that guilted people into trying to donate to Black Lives Matter during the Summer of Love in 2020. All the Sun Kings, all these places like that, where it was basically just a bunch of white dudes trying to look progressive. Where did the money go? Where did your money go? Because it sure as hell didn't go here to Indianapolis. In addition to you helping Patrice Cullors find another beautiful mansion to live in, you are supporting the organization that's going to be out here Thursdays at 5:30 on the steps of the monument celebrating the death of women and children in Israel. And that is absolutely disgusting. Matt Baer, what's going on?
Eastbound 465 is closed. All lanes at I-69 because of a crash involving a semi. We were stopped back to Keystone Avenue. That is where we are stopped to with a delay time of 22 minutes. They've also closed the ramp from southbound 69 to southbound 465 because of the semi crash. That is backed up to 106th Street. So everything going southbound, like if you're trying to head on 465, is shut down right now. I-69 and 465. Crash clear south side, southbound 65 at Thompson. We are still backed up past 465. Traffic sponsored by Mississinawa 1812. Don't miss the Mississinawa 1812 Living History event in Marion, Indiana this Friday through Sunday. Enjoying food, shopping, entertainment, and battle reenactment. Info at Mississinawa1812.com. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us at WIBC Traffic.
We've got some really good experts on what's happening in Israel joining us on the show today. Coming up, I think at 5:30, Joel Pollock of Breitbart will be joining us. He's been covering it for them. 3:35 today, Lieutenant Steve Rogers, former FBI and Naval Intelligence Officer. We're going to talk about the United States' role, what's going on in this country as it relates to what's happening in Israel. It's 61 at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center. We'll do some booze news next.
Well, proud to be an American Standard owner. I have an air conditioning unit that worked great this summer. And trust me, if you're a homeowner, you got tons of stuff to be worried about right now. High interest rates, just to name one. But look, you don't have to worry about your heating and cooling if you are an American Standard HVAC owner. If you need American Standard service, Hammer will tell you who you need to see.
Marshall Mechanical Heating and Cooling in Franklin. If you're in Johnson or the surrounding counties, Marshall Mechanical Heating and Cooling is your trusted American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer. So if you're looking for a fair and honest quote, call our friends at Marshall Mechanical Heating and Cooling. 317-738-5940. That's 738-5940. Or visit their website, callthemarshallnow.com. That's callthemarshallnow.com. American Standard Heating and Air is built to a higher standard. Make sure you tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Hi, I'm Emmitt Smith, Hall of Famer and all-time leading rusher with exciting news.
Football legend Emmitt Smith talking about all new regenerative treatments for joint pain from the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics.
But did you know that you can encourage your body to actually heal itself with the help of QC Kinetics?
QC Kinetics uses biologic therapies that are natural, restorative, and long-lasting.
The body is an amazing thing. Trust me, I put mine through a lot.
Exciting new relief is here for pain from arthritis, knee pain, lower back pain, pain in your hips and shoulders.
I'm that guy. When you Google shoulder pain, my face pops up.
But you don't have to be sidelined by pain anymore. Call QC Kinetics to learn more about biologic therapies.
Don't let your joint pain keep you from doing the things you love. There's a new natural solution that patients are raving about.
QC Kinetics.
Let QC Kinetics help you improve your quality of life.
Call QC Kinetics, 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN.
Attention business owners, this is John Souza, CEO of ERTC.com. The Employee Retention Tax Credit Program provides up to $26,000 per W-2 employee. If you're confused about the program, stop right now before it's too late. Don't fall for false promises and risk your business. All ERTC companies are not the same. The bottom line, there's no such thing as guaranteed eligibility, and being innovative with tax filings can lead to an audit. At ERTC.com, we won't mislead you to attest to your own eligibility. At ERTC.com, everything is done in-house by expert CPAs, and there's no cost to get started. With the ERTC.com Fast Track Refund Program, you may qualify to get your refund in as soon as 48 hours. Get started today at ERTC.com.
Get your free refund information now. 800-200-3009. 800-200-3009. That's 800-200-3009.
Bring smiles to all when shopping online with Dell Technologies Gift Guide. Whether it's for the artist, the entrepreneur, the student, or the streamer, you'll find the perfect gift for everyone on your list. Dell.com/gift guide makes gifting easy with a carefully curated selection of our best tech. Shop now to explore our innovative PCs like the XPS 13 laptop, powered by the latest Intel Core processors, plus this season's top accessories. Visit Dell.com/gift guide today to get a jump on your holiday gift list. That's Dell.com/gift guide.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis has been solving garage door problems for 33 years. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577.
Service today.
This hour powered by Absolute Comfort, your American Standard Mitsubishi electric ductless mini splits dealer.
You set them up and I'll knock them back, Lloyd. One by one.
We are gonna read Booze News, cause it's really fun.
Once it hits your lips, it's so good.
Nigel presents
Booze News, Booze News.
Yeah.
Time for Booze News.
Listen to this, Hammer. This bus driver, school bus driver, Long Island, was fired after being caught drinking a White Claw while driving students. Got the
Is
hard
that wrong?
seltzer.
Should that not have happened? Was that wrong?
The driver was caught when the students noticed the beverage in the cup holder. Here are parents and people in the community outraged and reacting to the story.
I think it's crazy, and it needs to be addressed.
Yeah, that's not good. Not at all. Yeah, especially with kids on the bus.
My daughter's a teacher, and she would never allow that.
That's a regular thing. If he's so blatant with it, it's regular.
I think it's a disaster. I mean, I have a kid that goes on a school bus, and that's pretty scary, yeah.
Yeah, probably wasn't the first time, like that lady said.
Right.
I mean, if it's out there, if it's in the open like that, just sitting there in his cup holder, not the first time it's happened. Pretty sure that was an ongoing thing, a regular basis type of deal.
How brazen do you have to be to not even just pour it in like a to-go cup, or whatever, but to have the actual can just sitting out going, yeah, catch me if you want, but here it is.
The very definition of a alcoholic right there. Yeah, that's a good point. You know, there's red Solo cups for a reason.
Right. You don't have any sort of cup with a lid or a straw. I mean, good Lord. More booze news.
Oh, more?
The former mayor of a town in Ohio was arrested after seemingly driving while drunk and being involved in a high-speed chase that ended in a crash. Here is the former mayor, Kathy Lukes. It's a lady getting pulled over, driving off, crashing, and then being arrested by the officer.
I guess you're going 43 and a 25, and your plates are expired. Go and put the car in park.
No thanks.
And she made a right-hand turn on the burger and crashed into a truck right in park. Are you hurt?
Yes.
What's hurting?
Everything. I was the mayor of the city of North Royalton. I have been so used.
Can we play that last part again? See if we can make out what she's saying.
I have been so what?
So used.
We'll get back further when they called her.
I have been so used.
I have no idea, but she's hammered.
Well, she said what hurts? Everything. I was the mayor of North Royalton.
And I've been so like, what scares me, and I know we talk about this, we laugh at it when we see these stories, but this is actually scary stuff. You know, I've got a kid that's out driving the streets now.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he's out driving, and there are people hammered like this broad, you know, just turning the wrong way down streets, taking off away from the police, swerving, speeding. I mean, it's a mess out there, man. Like, when the day comes, Nige, and you have to teach your kids how to drive, I think the main message you have to tell them is, look, I trust you. It's the other morons that are out there that you have to keep an open eye on.
Defensive driving. I got one for you. Do we have time for one? We got time for one more, right?
Yeah.
These restaurants. Some restaurants are now charging cleaning fees for drunks who vomit inside.
Good. Good for them.
Multiple restaurants in San Francisco, of all places, are charging super drunk guests $50 cleaning fees if they get sick inside and make a mess. They say it has become a problem and their staff are tired of dealing with it.
I'd make it more than $50.
Well, they don't have a problem with the bum pooping on the corner and nothing they can do about that.
Well, that's true.
But the customers coming in and getting rowdy, drunk, and puking all over the place. We're going to put a stop to it, damn it.
That syringe that's in a pile of poo in front of the building, that's just fine. But if you throw up inside, it's $50.
Dude, what happened to me, I'll tell you, like one time in Nashville, we went to see my buddy play AAA ball. It was Knoxville or Nashville. And we had been going at it pretty hard. And we walk into this bar, and immediately I go to the bathroom and puke. But I did it in the toilet. I did it in a nice, neat fashion. I didn't, I held it. But the security walked in as I was washing my hands and face, and I was ready to go. Puke and rally, right?
Right.
Sorry, buddy. You got to go. I go, oh, man, come on. I'm fine. I just had a bad shot tonight. And he kicked me out. So we eventually all had to go somewhere else. I didn't have to pay a cleaning fee, though, because I made it to the toilet.
So from the time you simply walked into the bathroom, the guy realized you were so out of control, you have to go.
Yep.
Just seeing you walk was enough for this guy. Impressive. It's the Hammer and Nigel show.
Oh, yeah, my new Galaxy concrete garage floor is out of this world, especially compared to what it used to be, which is old and dirty and cracked and wasn't taken care of very well. And the guys from Galaxy came in, got it done in a day, and turned it into something brand new. It's 4 times as strong as it used to be, and it's not epoxy. That's the key. The epoxy, that's the old standard the other guys use. What they used for my coating is polyurea, the new premium standard for coatings. And don't forget, lifetime warranty. It's so easy to clean, and it changes the look of your garage instantly. GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com or give them a call, 751-9070.
Paid for by John Rust for U.S. Senate. Next year, Indiana Republicans will have the choice to pick our next U.S. Senator. But if it's up to Mitch McConnell and the D.C. swamp, we'll have no choice. The Washington elite and political insiders are trying to rig this election for their hand-picked career politician ally, Jim Banks. That's why conservative businessman and Indiana farmer John Rust has stepped up to fight for us. As a lifelong conservative, John believes we need an outsider's voice that's focused on Hoosiers. John Rust is committed to fighting the woke liberal mob, defending seniors by protecting Social Security, and creating an economy that works for middle-class families, not D.C. insiders. While Jim Banks and Mitch McConnell are focused on keeping power for themselves, John Rust is focused on putting Indiana first. Career politicians like Jim Banks are always talking about solving problems. But we can trust businessmen like John Rust to actually get the job done.
I'm U.S. Senate candidate John Rust, and I approve this message.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac automatic standby generator for your home from Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter. Call 317-827-0808. Generator Supercenter of Indianapolis, 317-827-0808.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What the president is doing. Mostly sunny, 62 degrees in downtown Indianapolis. Nothing on your radar. You've got a low of 39 tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 3:31. The White House says they're trying to help with the situation in Israel. Fox's Ryan Schmelz reports.
President Biden has met with leaders from the State Department and his national security team, as well as Homeland Security. The White House says the president told his team to follow up on coordination with Israel on, quote, all aspects of the crisis and work with those in the region to warn anyone who might, quote, seek to take advantage of this situation. The president will also be speaking with several close allies about the latest developments in Israel, which has led to hundreds being killed, including several Americans after attacks from Hamas. In Washington, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
Helen Kurlander-Goldstein is the president of the board of directors for the Jewish Federation of Indianapolis. She tells Wish TV her son lives in Israel. He's in a bomb shelter.
He's moved from Tel Aviv further inland because of the amount of rocket attacks that are taking place in Tel Aviv.
She also says the mayor of a town close to Gaza, Ophir Lipstein, was killed by Hamas terrorists in his home. Robert Kennedy Jr. announced today in Philadelphia he is flipping from a Democrat to an independent as he continues his run for president. The reasoning, he wants to be free from taking sides. The Biden administration wants more electric vehicles on the road. Former President Donald Trump wants to hit the brakes on EVs.
On day one, I will also repeal Joe Biden's insane electric vehicle mandate. Can you believe it? Everybody has to have an electric car.
The Biden administration says moving to electric cars would cut greenhouse gas emissions and slow down climate change. Indiana likes its sports betting. Sam Fritz reports the Hoosier State is ranked 9th in the U.S. for how many bets placed.
A press release from NoDepositRewards.com has the Hoosier State placed 9th overall in terms of states that spend the most money on sports betting. Last year, Hoosiers placed $4.4 billion in bets. The Indiana Gaming Commission publishes monthly tax numbers on gambling around the state on their website. The latest report for the month of August says that in sports wagers alone, Indiana collected $2.2 million in taxable revenue. For the 2023 fiscal year, Indiana has already collected $39.5 million. Sam Fritz, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 3:33.
Hoosiers should know that the Holcomb administration is preparing to strip access to therapy from thousands of children with autism. These proposed cuts would devastate families caring for children with autism, force therapy centers to close, and lead to therapy deserts right here in West Central Indiana. Even worse, Governor Holcomb's administration is making this decision based on out-of-date information, skewing the results. We must stop this callous attack on Hoosier children with autism. Otherwise, thousands of Indiana families will lose access to services. Nicole Parker from Darlington is a mom of a child with autism who would lose access to services.
These callous cuts are not what Hoosiers stand for. I urge legislators and the State Budget Committee to say no to the Holcomb administration's proposed cuts.
Leaders of the State Budget Committee must reject the Holcomb administration's rate proposal. Support a rate that keeps centers open and protects life-changing therapy for children with autism. Paid for by the Market Institute.
The traffic at 3:34. What's going on, Matt Bear?
Well, Harrison, eastbound 465 is closed. Every lane at I-69, and this is because of a semi crash. I just talked to Indante, said a semi jackknifed and then tag the barrier wall. That's why the interstate is closed. Again, eastbound at I-69, stop to Keystone Avenue. Southbound 69, stop the hell back to 106th Street to 465. They had to shut down the ramp to limit traffic into the area, so everything going south right now is a disaster coming into Lawrence. Looking at southbound 65, this is going to downtown, and that's a crash at West, blocking the left lane, stop and go traffic back to MLK. Crash clear. Really, southbound 65 at Edgewood. Traffic sponsored by B Window. Design it before you buy it with B Window. Now for a limited time, get up to 50% off all products, 2.9% financing, and a $550 installation credit. Trust your home to B. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And a forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Frost advisories are in place across central Indiana for tonight. Mostly clear. Our low temperatures in the upper 30s. Tuesday, plenty of sunshine in the forecast. High temperatures in the low 60s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
The Hammer and Nigel Show.
My name is Nigel. Hammer right over there with a special guest on the hotline.
You are not going to find many people that have a better resume than this gentleman, former FBI and Naval Intelligence Lieutenant Steve Rogers. Lieutenant, welcome back to the Hammer and Nigel Show. Let's get right into it here. Based off of your years of experience, knowing what you know, would this attack in Israel have happened if there was a stronger leader in the White House here in the United States?
Absolutely not. Let me share this with you. I could not believe when I saw this invasion on Israel, the breaching of their border, hand gliders, missiles, rockets, and ground troops, if you will, capturing not only those individuals who were living in their own life in their neighborhoods, but also a military base. So something went terribly, terribly wrong with not only Israeli intelligence, but with American intelligence. And this administration, a few things they did that I believe emboldened the enemies to do this. And by the way, they're not through with us yet. To begin with, a $6 billion ransom for a hostage. Joe Biden trying to negotiate with the Iranians to be nice guys, to play nice on the street. And then the defunding of our law enforcement agencies around the, not only in America, but around the world. You got to remember that when we're talking about defunding the police, we're talking about defunding the intelligence organizations that keep this country safe. So absolutely not. It would have never happened under an administration, and I would say a Republican administration, because there is a pattern here. When the Democrats are in charge, we're at war with somebody. When the Republicans are in charge, we're not at war.
Lieutenant, what role should the United States play in this scenario? I mean, Israel does have a powerful military, and I know some of our aircraft carriers are on their way there to Israel. But what message is that sending exactly, that we are sending aircraft carriers there?
Well, I would say that under different circumstances, our aircraft carriers, our strike groups there would send a very strong message to Iran in particular. Just don't cross the line. But these individuals, these terrorist states, we could add China to it, Iran. Our enemies know and believe that we are weak and that there's going to be no response. So we need to do what Ronald Reagan did to Muammar Gaddafi years ago: launch the missiles, take him out, take his whole darn community out. We need to do what he did, and that will send a message. Look, these terrorists, they're thugs, they're cowards, they're savages. They only know one language, and that's force. We have the power. We have to have the will to use it.
Chatting with Lieutenant Steve Rogers, former FBI and Naval Intelligence. So we found out today, Lieutenant, that there are dead Americans. It's unconfirmed, but we're hearing reports that other Americans are missing, possibly kidnapped. If that is indeed the case, should the United States send special forces in to try to rescue these Americans?
Well, yes, they should, but we should take this a step further. And by the way, I'm sure you heard in the last hour, Hamas is now threatening to broadcast the execution of these hostages. But getting back to the point of Americans, well, there's a declaration of war, as far as I'm concerned, on the United States of America. Special forces could go in, and I believe, and I hope they're there already, but the problem is you're talking about thousands upon thousands of hideouts, homes, It's going to take a lot of time for special forces to find these hostages. But I've got to tell you, I think at this point we have to go to the head, and that's Iran. We have to use military force. And I realize that could erupt into a regional war, but with us there or not, these people, if you want to call them people, I'll call them animals, are hell-bent on starting a regional war. So we got to get Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Egypt. We've got to get all these guys together and say, look, they did this to Israel. This is Iran we're talking about. They're going to be coming for you next. So you've got to stand with us and use all the military force necessary, not to stop them, but to obliterate them off the face of the earth.
So, Lieutenant, you're saying Iran wants to draw the United States into a broader conflict?
Oh, they sure do. They sure do. They hate us. They know with us gone, Israel's gone, and perhaps the whole free world's gone. And I think a lot of Americans don't understand that Iran is financing wars all over the world. We got war going on in Africa, Somalia, you name the place, Iran is financing it, and perhaps through part of the $6 billion that our good buddy there in Washington handed over to them.
So do you think between now and November of 2024, when there's a presidential election in this country, you're going to see more of these types of attacks, whether it's, Russia moving into Ukraine? We're hearing China might want to take over Taiwan. Now we see what's happening in Israel. Do you expect more of this because the world sees a window of opportunity with a weak president?
Yes, I do. But even more importantly, I'm really worried. And I'm not a worrier and I'm not an alarmist, but now I am worried about terrorist attacks here in the United States. Our border has been open for quite some time. And when I was on the Joint Terrorism Task Force with the FBI in Washington years ago after 9/11, we were very, very concerned then that they were going to use that border, they meaning terrorist cells, to cross without being checked. But Donald Trump put a stop to it. There were Republicans that finally approved building of the wall. We had it under control. But now, come on, guys, come on in. And those blue cities and sanctuary cities that welcome these people, and I'm not talking about all of them. I'm talking about the bad, bad terrorists. What are they going to do now? Because these cities are now, in my view, and I'm not saying this is fact, just saying it's my view, those cities are probably going to be targeted.
And I love the fact that you used the word terrorist, and that's been something Nigel and I have been talking about. For whatever reason, there's a lot of members of the media referring to these animals of Hamas as militants. Why is it so hard for so many people to call them terrorists, do you think?
Amazing, isn't it? Well, you're absolutely right. I don't understand why it's so hard, other than they don't want to, quote unquote, offend people. Well, they're offending me. They're offending innocent people around this world that want to put an end to it. Make no mistake about it. They're terrorists. And by the way, adding to that, if and when captured, if not killed, they should be charged in a military tribunal. They're military combatants that should be charged and either sent to prison or executed. These are animals. They're terrorists. Make no mistake about it.
Last thing here before we let you go. It's being reported, and again, we can't confirm this yet, but it's being reported that some of the weaponry that's been used in this awful attack was from the United States, whether it was left behind in Afghanistan and later sold to the Iranians, whether it came from somewhere else. Should the United States bear a little bit of responsibility for some of the horrific things that have gone on?
Well, yeah, we should. But of course, those are things that we should have checked a long time ago with regard to the weapons. But another part of that equation, and again, not fact, but the question has been asked, what about Ukraine? There are reports out there that some of these weapons in Ukraine ended up in the hands of some bad guys. I don't know that as fact, but here's what has to be done. All weapons, all money, everything we're sending to Ukraine or to any other place around the world at this point has to stop until we get, as the Republican Congress wants to do, audit where that money's going and whose hands is it falling into. I wouldn't doubt that the Taliban in Afghanistan provided a lot of these weapons to Hamas. So yeah, we might have to bear. Let's say we. Joe Biden and the Democrat Party has to bear the burden of the blood that's being shed now.
Lieutenant Steve Rogers, former FBI and Naval Intelligence. Sir, thank you so much for your service to this country, and thank you so much for joining us here on the Hammer and Nigel Show.
And thank you for getting the word out. God bless you.
It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
If there is blame to go around, it will begin, and it will end right here.
That's Joe Hogsett laying out his crime plan back in 2017.
I am responsible.
The results? Over 800 police have left the force, most since the protests when Joe was absent.
I am responsible.
Murders are up 52%, and the odds of getting away with it are better than a coin flip. Only 35% of cases were solved last year.
I am responsible.
Mental health is underfunded. Homelessness on the rise. And now, Indy ranks 4th in lethal overdoses.
I am responsible.
It's just not working.
I am responsible because I happen to be the mayor.
So I ask you, isn't it time for a change?
Paid for by Shreve for Mayor.
What's your game day game plan? Award-winning jumbo wings, burgers and wraps, a beer lineup that'll answer all your questions, appetizers, sides and sauces that'll pin your flavor meter, and all the football-filled big screen TVs you could ever want, plus a few more? You know where to go. You're always ready to please local wings, etc. When you want the real deal, come have some good food and great times at one of our 15 Central Indiana area locations. Order online for carryout or delivery at wingsetc.com.
Guys, there's a lot of people talking about testosterone, but you do need to do your homework. Go to somewhere you could trust. We recommend Low T Center. They specialize specifically in men's wellness and customized testosterone treatments. The Low T Center, they make it easy. You walk in, you take a simple blood test, and with their on-site lab, you'll get your results back in about 25 minutes. So if you've been feeling tired, grumpy, you've noticed weight gain and loss of muscle mass, this could all be signs of low T levels.
Right now at a Low T Center near you, it's only $25 to get your T level tested, and you get your results back in about 25 minutes. And if you're busy and you can't always make it to the doctor, the Low T Center, it's your one-stop shop. It's concierge medicine because they have affordable and convenient treatment options that ship directly to your home, and it's physician monitored. LowTCenter.com. Book your appointment today. LowTCenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Talking on the phone is difficult if you've been exposed to loud noises over time. Combat veterans, factory workers, farmers, gun and motorcycle enthusiasts can have trouble hearing on the telephone. Relay Indiana helps return clarity to your phone conversations. A free service providing telecom accessibility, Relay Indiana allows hard of hearing users to have normal phone conversations through specially trained relay operators. Relay Indiana also provides free loaned equipment to those who qualify. Get the CapTel caption telephone from Relay Indiana. Visit RelayIndiana.com now.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Heat and cool your man cave, attic, garage, or bonus room without adding ductwork with Mitsubishi Electric ductless mini splits.
To find out more, just go to absolutecomfort.org.
Want to look your best? Then go to the best. Go where I go. 459 Barber Lounge. Across from the Fashion Mall on 86th Street. 459online.com. Tell them Tony Cat sent you.
Design it before you buy it. Up to 50% off all products and 2.99% financing, plus $550 installation credit.
There's a lot of sexy content on the internet. And there's WIBC, full of faces meant for radio. Hammer and Nigel, Kendall and Casey. Okay, Casey could be on TV. Now streaming every day on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/WIBC.
You know, it's crazy how people only hear what they want to hear. So So we just have that conversation with the lieutenant there, and some jagoff tweets us, "Holy bleep, you guys want to start a war in the Middle East. I thought you were against that, and you criticize the funding to Ukraine, but you want to do this." First of all, nobody even came close to saying that. And I can't stress this enough, Ukraine's not an ally. Israel is one of the closest allies to the United States, along with the United Kingdom. So both of those things right there, just people will only hear what they want to hear. So yeah, social media is a bit of a hot mess these days. All right, Matt Bear, what's going on?
465 is closed on the northeast side. Eastbound 465 at I-69 shut down because a semi-jackknife tagged the barrier wall, and the interstate is backed up to Keystone Avenue. Stop traffic. That has shut down the ramp from southbound 69 to southbound 465 to limit traffic into the area right now. Southbound 69 stopped to 106th Street. We are looking at a crash. It is northbound 65 at 38th Kessler, like you're heading out of downtown. Crash on the left shoulder, slow to the exit. Then southbound 65 still stop and go traffic from an earlier crash, 29 to Meridian Penn. Traffic sponsored by B Window. Design it before you buy it with B Window. Now for a limited time, get up to 50% off all products, 2.99% financing, get a $550 installation credit. Trust your home to B. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
60 at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center at 93 WIBC.
You're listening to the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Man, Colts get a home game win over the Titans. I don't believe the Colts have won at home against the Titans for, it's been multiples of years, hasn't it?
It was a 5-game losing streak to the Titans overall. And I think the Colts had the second longest home field losing streak in the entire league behind the Chicago Bears. The Colts had lost 7 straight home games prior to yesterday's win over the Titans.
23-16 final score at Lucas Oil. And there we have a quarterback injury. Rookie Anthony Richardson out 4 to 6 weeks with a shoulder injury. That thing, when he was walking off the field into the tunnel, it looked like his shoulder was just hanging on by a thread.
Right.
Ooh, it looked painful.
And the thing is, it could be a lot worse. It wasn't a separated shoulder. It's an AC joint injury, so 4 to 6 weeks is the timeline. Barring any setbacks or a surgery that he might require, he will be back. But until then, it's Minshew mania running wild, baby. Gardner Minshew will be the trigger man, and his work's cut out for him. Big road divisional game next Sunday down in Jacksonville. We owe those guys a beating.
Yeah.
Like, the Colts have not won in Jacksonville in a long, long time, and first place is on the line, Gardner Minshew. Then, over the weekend, I'm kind of scrolling through social media, keeping up with what's going on in Israel. I see the Colts have agreed to a deal with Jonathan Taylor, which kind of caught me off guard just a little bit because he held that press conference on, what was it, Thursday? Here in Indy when he came back?
Yeah, Kevin Bowen from the fan asked him if he wanted to be a Colt, and he basically gave him a big song and dance, did not answer that question directly.
Right. And then, 48 hours later, he got everything that he wanted.
One of the highest paid running backs in the NFL, right? Top 3.
And, of course, his backup just goes off on Sunday, Zach Moss. Ripped off a 50-plus yard touchdown run, had like 20-something carries, over 150 yards rushing. The Colts bullied the Titans, and I loved it, but it was a backup quarterback and a backup running back doing the damage.
Colts are 4.5-point dogs this Sunday in Jacksonville.
Let's see if the Jags have any London jet lag, because they played 2 straight weeks in London, and now they're coming back for a home game against the Colts. According to a new poll of 1,000 Americans, the sexiest accent in the world is an Australian accent.
Okay.
The least sexy, what do you think it is? Allison, I'm going to defer to you. According to this survey of 1,000 Americans, what do you think is the least sexy accent?
I would say probably Boston, East Coast-ish.
New York.
Ah, I was close. Okay.
I was going to say Beach Grove.
Beech Grove is great. I was voted sexiest man in Beech Grove 4 years in a row.
Congratulations.
Boston accents, to Allison's point, were rated the most annoying, but also the most confident. Why is somebody from Boston confident?
F up some smart kids. Go to Harvard.
Pocket car.
French accents were the most beautiful. British were the smartest. And the funniest sounding accents, Canadian. And I think South Park may have a little hand in that, the way they make Terrence and Phillip sound with their Canadian accents on that program. All right, coming up next, Daisy from the Chicks on the Right will join us.
Cool.
We'll get her perspective on what's happening with this Israel war. That is coming up next here on the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Don't you love fall in Indy, but you hate the paint? Well, do what your neighbor Mark did. He called Rhino Shield.
It's a two-story home built in 1992. Around 2001, looking at needing to paint, I heard a radio ad, with Rhino Shield, you won't have to paint again for another 25 years.
That's because Rhino Shield's not paint. It's better.
They're very professional. We had everything done. Everything that would typically be painted on a house was done, and it was very fast.
All right, Indy, get the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield right now for 15% off the regular price.
It was done in 2001 and still going strong. From what I've seen on our home, they can easily offer a 25-year guarantee and not worry about it.
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Don't paint. Don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Fall is the best time of the year. No doubt there's so much to love about fall, especially the return of Window Nation's best offer of the year. My mom would know. She just ordered new Window Nations, got this deal. She got a bunch of windows in her kitchen. 2 windows free for every 2 you buy. Plus, put no money down, make no payments, and pay no interest for 2 years. Hey, if your old windows are hard to open or drafty, now is the time to call Window Nation.
Now, this is a deal. This right here is going to save you thousands of dollars. Buy 2 windows, get 2 for free. And there's no limit. The more you buy, the more free ones you get. And that's on top of the existing deal of 0 money down, 0 payments, 0 interest for 2 years. What are you waiting for? Start the conversation now so you don't miss out on the deal. 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
I'm attorney Darrell Isaacs. Since my dad, Sheldon Isaacs, started Isaacs & Isaacs in 1993, we've been proud to be the law firm thousands of Hoosiers have trusted to take on their personal injury cases. Winning for my clients is so important to me because I know what they're going through. I was in a wreck myself back in 2015. I've been there, and I'll be there for you. We've recovered billions of dollars for our clients. Now we're ready to win for you. Just click to get help quick at WeWin.com.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Tiffany absolutely hated her job.
I was living paycheck to paycheck on a dead-end job that I did not like.
She'd been considering a change with My Computer Career.
I was able to qualify for financial aid.
Just 2 nights a week in a classroom and studying from anywhere online opened up a whole new world to her.
I get job offers all the time. IT is practically recession-proof.
Become an IT pro in just months with 0 experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
I highly recommend My Computer Career.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu. This is 1 student's experience. Individual results vary.
Colorectal cancer rates are on the rise, especially in younger adults. The good news? It's one of the few cancers that can be prevented through screening. So we're keeping up, making some changes, and saving lives. Franciscan Health now offers colonoscopy screenings for adults aged 45 and up. No doctor referral needed. And they're covered at 100% by most insurance plans. Are you 45? Screen sooner. Schedule your colonoscopy at franciscanhealth.org/coloncare.
Coming up in 2 minutes, the body of a former police officer was found in a Greenwood Park Sunday. How the fighting in Israel is impacting people in Indiana. And after 2 years, a drug dealer from Bloomington has been indicted. All that and more coming up after Fox News Radio from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 4 o'clock.
Prepare for war. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. That message from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to his people. He says Hamas has killed handcuffed children, likening the atrocities of Palestinian militants to ISIS. Rescue workers still finding bodies in Israel after Saturday's Hamas attack, while in Gaza, tens of thousands flee Israeli airstrikes.
IDF Major and spokesman Ben Walhouse would not confirm midday Monday when or even if a ground incursion into Gaza was about to happen.
At the moment, all the options are on the table. Our main priority at the moment is to stop the attacks. We have to stop the attacks inside Israel. We have to rid the entire southern Israel from all the Hamas terrorists.
He said there's constant rocket fire directed at civilians. There were reports of explosions along the border with Lebanon as well.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. Health officials say more than 600 Palestinians are dead. Israeli officials report more than 900 people killed, more than 100 taken hostage. At least 9 Americans have been killed in Israel. It's not known how many of the hostages are Americans. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby just telling Fox News.
We have been in very close contact with Israeli officials about hostage recovery efforts, well, about everything, but certainly including hostage recovery efforts. And we're talking to them about resources and capabilities and needs that they might have that we might be able to help them with.
Kirby also says Iran is complicit in the attacks, but that there's no intelligence right now pointing to direct Iranian participation. President Biden scheduled to speak with key allies this afternoon. The European Union reversing an earlier announcement by an EU commissioner that aid for Palestinian authorities was being suspended. Instead, the EU says assistance will be urgently reviewed. GM just announcing more layoffs, now a total of about 2,300 as an auto worker strike continues. Stocks finish higher. The Dow up 197 at the bell. America is listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
He was found in a park, a mix of sunshine and clouds over the circle, and 62 degrees, all clear under radar. A few clouds hang around tonight with a low of 39. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 4:02. Pronounced dead Sunday was a former Indianapolis and Greenwood police officer. John Herrick reports.
He was identified as Zane Hennig. The coroner doesn't suspect foul play at this point. Hennig's body was found at Craig Park in Greenwood on Sunday. He had worked for the Greenwood Police Department for more than 2 years, but resigned in August. He was accused of violating the department's information technology use policy. 2 other officers have resigned as well, and 2 more are accused of the same thing. They could be fired. Those 2, Elijah Allen and Sam Bowen, both have hearings with the Greenwood Police Merit Commission this month. Allen's hearing is Wednesday. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
The fighting in Israel is impacting people in Indiana. Helen Kurlander-Goldstein tells Wish TV her son is hiding in a bomb shelter.
He's moved from Tel Aviv further inland because of the amount of rocket attacks that are taking place in Tel Aviv.
Goldstein's on the board of directors for the Jewish Federation of Indianapolis. She says the mayor of a town close to Gaza was killed by Hamas terrorists. A Bloomington drug dealer has been indicted for selling a lethal dose of fentanyl.
I'm Ryan Hedrick. It took prosecutors more than 2 years to put together a case, and they finally charged Garrett Hacker with selling drugs to Andrew Estep. Estep's family says he struggled with addiction and that he was trying to recover. Prosecutors used social media messages and surveillance video to build their case against Hacker, who's already in prison for a separate drug conviction in Wayne County. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
The average price you're paying for a gallon of gas in Indiana today, $3.42. That's according to GasBuddy.com. The Price is Right Live is coming to Indiana next year. The Brown County Music Center will host the show February 28th. Tickets go on sale this Friday at 10 in the morning. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 4:04.
Hey, it's Rob. I started losing hair around my crown, and my hairline was starting to recede.
I went to We Grow Hair Indy, and they helped grow my hair back. My friend Dave First, a sports broadcaster for over 20 years, also struggled with hair loss. Dave, what happened?
My thinning hair was bothering me. For me, I'm in the public eye. I'm a dad also, and I want to look and feel my best. And if I'm going to do something about my hair, I want to go with the best. We Grow Hair Indy. They really set the standard.
Dave, that's amazing. I had the same procedure, multi-unit hair grafting transplants, which gives you more hair per procedure, saving you time and money. Call 317-522-2995 for your free hair and scalp evaluation. Find out if hair transplants or PRP is right for you.
If you're thinking about this, don't waste your time or money. Go to the experts.
Call 317-522-2995, 522-2995, or visit WeGrowHairIndy.com, the gold standard for hair restoration.
With traffic on the 5s at 4:05, here's Matt Bear.
Yeah, Harrison, that's a full closure. 465 on the northeast side. Eastbound to 465 and I-69, all lanes shut down because of a semi-crash at Jackknives and then hit the barrier wall. So we're stopped at Keystone Avenue. Southbound S69 to southbound 465, that ramp was closed. Avenue stop back to 116th. And now southbound S65 stop and go to downtown from MLK to 21st, and northbound S65 like you're heading out of downtown. Crash at 38th Kessler with a slowdown. Traffic sponsored by IndySchools.org. Every child deserves a great public school that meets their needs, and charter schools are an option that's free, public, and open to all. Find out more, IndySchools.org. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Driving.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Frost advisories are in place across central Indiana for tonight. Mostly clear. Our low temperatures in the upper 30s. Tuesday, plenty of sunshine in the forecast. High temperatures in the low 60s. I'm Wish TV's Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox on the level on the go and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos?
So let's rock it!
My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer right over there with the special guests on the WIBC hotline.
She is one half of the Chicks on the Right. Daisy joins us. How are you, love?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
You know, we're great here in Indy, and obviously the big story in the world is what's happening in Israel. I'm just curious as to your thoughts. I know you do the website. You guys have your own program. This is the biggest story in the world. I'm just curious for your perspective.
Yeah, we talked about it all this morning on our show because there's really no other news, right? I mean, it just basically overshadows every other news story that's going on. Even the fact that, you know, even the news story, which at the beginning of the weekend, it was like, you know, Hillary Clinton basically wanting to deprogram everybody. And then this obviously even, you know, overshadowed that. So we talked about it all this morning, and it's just, you know, it's horrific. And we obviously stand in solidarity and support Israel. And you would not believe, like, even in our comment section, we would get people that would come in. We get some trolls that would come in and start screaming at us and,
really?
You know, scream at, yeah. We'd have to ban some people that would be like, you know, free Palestine. They'd be screaming stuff at us and all sorts of nasty stuff. You'd be surprised, and it's out there, it's kind of like, you know, there are some leftists, surprisingly, that are trying to support Israel. Or even just celebrities that are trying to support Israel, and they're getting shut down. And those people are, you know, like the Kylie Jenners of the world. You know, like Kylie Jenner came out over the weekend and she's like, I support Israel. And people are coming out in droves saying you can't do that. So instead of being educated about it, because I mean, this is Kylie Jenner we're talking about.
Right.
She took down her post that I support. I mean, why it's just
800 people. 800 people were slaughtered. Families, elderly, dragged out of their homes. Children kidnapped. You can't come out and you can't put a benign statement like "I support Israel" out on Twitter.
I completely agree with you, Nigel. I mean, this is the thing. But I guess, you know, these are a lot of the same people who supported BLM, right? A lot of people, and BLM openly supports Palestine. So how do you square that? Or do they even know? You know, I think some of these folks just want to. These are the same folks that put the circle around their Facebook profile pic, and they're like, "I'm just supporting what I think I should be support," and so they just don't understand. You know, and I think also there's a lot of Yeah, the millennials, the Gen Zers. I don't know if they understand the gravity of this, and maybe it is a generational thing. Like, even with we talked a little bit about this on our show this morning. Like, our parents were a whole different breed. You guys know that. Mm-hmm. Our grandparents were a definite whole different breed. Our us as Gen Xers, I mean, we're kind of feral, but we are a little softer than our parents. But our kids' generation is taught safe spaces and gender pronouns. And now we're looking at all of this, and we talked about how war, even for us, is a possibility. I'm looking around, and I told my husband over the weekend, I said, buy ammo. We're not prepared for war as a country. I don't believe that we're prepared for war. I said, I don't feel safe. I mean, right. So that's a conversation to be had. But I mean, I look at my children, and they'd never experienced anything like my parents experienced when it came to war or wartime or just anything like this. I think when they're looking at this, it looks like a really bad movie.
Right.
But this isn't a movie, though. This isn't like something that's produced at Hollywood where you see some blood, you see some bodies. This is real life. And because of the social media aspect here, I texted you over the weekend, Daisy. Right. I'm scrolling through my Twitter feed on NFL Sunday. I'm trying to find, an injury update on the Colts quarterback. And lo and behold, just a video pops up from somebody I follow of some of the grisly things happening in Israel. I saw an axe attack where somebody had their head chopped with an axe. I mean, this is real war. This isn't Hollywood stuff.
You're absolutely right. But I will say that Twitter, there was a really great thread on Twitter over the weekend. I'm so sorry I can't tell you who the person is that started it, but they said that, it was the best $40 billion that was ever spent was Elon taking over Twitter. And that's because of citizen journalism, because I think that's the best place to get news now. Jason is going to Twitter. I mean, because you watch the MSNBCs, the CNNs, even the Fox Newses. I mean, you're not getting the most correct, most timely news is out on the mainstream. You just can't trust the mainstream media anymore. You're getting some sort of slanted view of what the actual news is. As gruesome and awful and terrible, just horrific as it is, you're getting the real story on Twitter. Right. So, that's where we get everything that we, report. We try to get it all on. We're looking at Twitter to seeing what the most up-to-date news is. And so that is a good thing. At least we have Twitter, and we can see what's going on, and then you can come to an educated decision as to how you're going to critically think and view the world through that lens and see it for yourself.
Daisy from Chicks on the Right here on the Hammer and Nigel show. Go back to something you mentioned earlier about, telling your husband to load up on the ammo. And I'm assuming that's because we have a porous open border with gotaways in the millions. Gotaways are people that haven't been identified that are in this country illegally right now. Many of them military-aged men. We don't know where they are. We don't know who they are. And I'm just wondering if it's popped into anybody's head that it could be Hamas or Hezbollah or something. God. I mean, we've had 80 to, I could be wrong on the numbers, 80 to 100 of people caught on the border that have been on a terrorist watch list. And those are only the ones that we know about right now.
Right. God knows who else, right? I mean, we've had 7 million illegals come over the border since Biden's taken office. And then you have Israeli intelligence openly saying to American Jews, stay out of big cities. They're not safe. How is that okay? Everybody should be denouncing that and freaking out about that. You have Jake Sullivan, who's our national security advisor, last week on video. He's saying, the Middle East region is quieter today than it has been in 2 decades. I mean, that completely freaks me out. When you've got that guy saying, everything's fine, you guys, everything's fine. And so there's so much that we've just not been, again, I go back to the whole, what is the real story here? What is the real news? What are they not telling us? And so when we have all of these illegals pouring over the border and those people have not been vetted, we don't know who these people are. And then I have a good friend of mine, which, she told me years ago, and I said this on our show this morning, and appropriate or not, I'll say it. She told me years ago, listen, people who want to kill us and have no good intentions in mind for us, they will wait 100 years to do it. They will live amongst us. They will sit. They will raise children to hate us, and they'll wait. They will be patient and they'll wait. And I feel like, that's it. When she said it at the time, I was like, okay, I mean, that's all right, whatever. But now that I'm seeing what's happening, and you look in New York City over the weekend, and some of the videos that I saw where there are just countless people who are, countless Islamists who are full of hate, and they are praising what happened.
Oh, there's one scheduled here in Indy on Thursday. I believe there's one scheduled on Monument Circle Thursday at 5:30.
It's just unbelievable, the sheer numbers of people that were just chanting and so happy, just delighted about what happened over the weekend. And, praising what happened at that music festival, saying that they were hipsters and that they're probably just fine. Well, at least 260 people were killed, brutally attacked and murdered at that festival. So I truly believe that we're going to see a terror attack here in the U.S. very soon. And that's not hyperbole. I mean, I really believe that. And, I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. But I think it's okay to say to people, have your head on a swivel, be very careful, just be diligent when you're out and about. And I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that, because when you have Jake Sullivan, our national security advisor, saying, everything's fine, and the Middle East is quieter today and safer than it has been in 2 decades, and then this happened over the weekend, I think I have every right to say that out loud.
Daisy, we've got about 30 seconds left here. I know that's a short time for kind of a loaded question, but does the Biden administration, does the United States bear some of the blame for what happened?
Well, I sure do feel sick about that $6 billion. I mean, I felt really sick to my stomach about all of that over the weekend, and the fact that we're not just giving Iran the big fat middle finger on a lot of stuff. I mean, I do. I feel sick about the way that he's handled just foreign relations in general. And I think and the fact that he was at a barbecue over the weekend, I mean, the optics, gross. It's so gross. This administration is an absolute and total disgrace.
Where can we follow some of your work?
ChicksOnTheRight.com, you guys. Go there. You can find everything, and we'd be delighted to have you. Thanks for having me on, you guys.
Daisy.
Thank you, Daisy.
Matt Baer, what's going on with traffic?
Eastbound 465 northeast side closed. Eastbound lane shut down at I-69 because of a crash with a semi. Stop to Keystone Avenue. And it stops southbound 69 from 106th Street down to 465. In fact, you can't make your exit right now from southbound 69 to southbound 465. That's a crash coming out downtown, northbound 65 at 38th Kessler. It's the left lane block. Traffic stop and go back to the White River. Traffic sponsored by Isaacs and Isaacs. After a car wreck, it can feel like you're living in a horror show. Don't let the insurance company make you feel like you're living in a bad, scary movie. Just click quick at WeWin.com. Happy Halloween from the Hammer. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
So I put a video on our Facebook and Twitter. It's former NBA player Amari Stoudemire. You guys remember him, right? Played for the Suns and then the Knicks for a little while. He was an all-star for a number of years. He is not real happy with BLM and some politicians in regards to their support of these terrorist a-holes in this Israeli war. So do yourself a favor, watch those videos. It's on our Facebook and Twitter. Now, there is some language.
Yeah, we can't play it.
We can't play it. There is some language on there, but yeah, he's not holding back. Definitely worth a watch. Right now, we have got sunshine, 60 degrees at the American Standard Heating Weather Center. Is this anything? Next.
The Voice of Health Minute with Dr. Robert Prather of Holistic Integration.
If you're having abnormal rhythms, check on your vagus nerve to see if there's actually an interference. The way that we fix that is through the Atlas adjustment, and that has a huge effect.
Atlas is the first vertebrae.
And we have a specialty on that, Atlas orthogonal. We actually get quite dramatic changes in the vagus nerve, in heart function, blood pressure, all those types of things. Really is very, very critical.
And you're the only board-certified Atlas orthogonist in the state of Indiana.
We had a gentleman who had AFib. He had 42 different types of incidents as we were doing the heart monitor. We got the Atlas set. We also did ECP and supplements. And basically, they had told him that if he didn't get an ablation, he would probably be dead within a year. Young guy, probably wind up with a stroke. Completely cleared that out.
The Voice of Health with Dr. Robert Prather, Sundays at 8 p.m. or anytime at thevoiceofhealthradio.com.
Have you saved enough? Do you have a plan for Social Security and taxes in retirement? Hey, Casey Weed of Howard Bailey Financial, where our mission is to help you gain clarity and purpose and elevate meaning in your life through personal and practical financial strategies. That's why we want to give you our Retire with Purpose toolkit at no cost. In it, you'll find valuable information on minimizing taxes, maximizing Social Security, and building a retirement income you can't outlive. Plus, you'll receive a copy of my book, Job Optional. To get your complimentary toolkit, call or text the keyword INFO 42 to 866-482-9559. That's INFO 42 to 866-482-9559.
Howard Bailey Financial is the official wealth management partner of Notre Dame Athletics. Notre Dame Athletics was compensated for this endorsement and is not a current client of Howard Bailey. For more information, please visit howardbailey.com/ND disclosure. Investment advisory services may be offered through Howard Bailey Securities LLC, a registered investment advisor. Working with Howard Bailey Securities LLC cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
Hey, it's Big Joe for your independent, locally owned American Standard hometown dealer in Johnson County, Marshall Mechanical Heating and Cooling. Are you tired of the free air conditioner or furnace sketchy claims and want an honest quote with honest pricing from people who live and work in your community? Call Marshall Mechanical. Just go to callthemarshallnow.com to schedule an appointment. Financing options are available. Subject to credit approval. Call for details. Marshall Mechanical Heating and Cooling, your American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer in Johnson County.
Hi, I'm Joe Wrights, former Colts offensive lineman.
And I'm Jill Wrights. Traumatic brain injury is so sad and so life-changing.
That's why we support a groundbreaking organization building a better future for adults living with a TBI.
VILLICI was founded right here in Indiana, but what we are doing will affect families around the country, families struggling to support and lift up their loved one after a life-changing head injury.
Go to braininjury.me, that's braininjury.me.
Bring smiles to all when shopping online with Dell Technologies Gift Guide. Whether it's for the artist, the entrepreneur, the student, or the streamer, you'll find the perfect gift for everyone on your list. Dell.com/gift guide makes gifting easy with a carefully curated selection of our best tech. Shop now to explore our innovative PCs like the XPS 13 laptop, powered by the latest Intel Core processors, plus this season's top accessories. Visit Dell.com/gift guide today to get a jump on your holiday gift list. That's Dell.com/gift guide.
Get ready, Indiana! It's Medicare annual enrollment period. So why not make enrolling easier with United Healthcare? Whether you choose our online tools or over-the-phone support, United Healthcare will help you compare options so you can choose a plan with confidence. This is Medicare made for Indiana, trusted everywhere. Explore our wide range of plans by calling United Healthcare today at 1-855-MEET-UHC. That's 1-855-MEET-UHC. Annual enrollment begins October 15th and ends December 7th, so call today.
24/7 ER care for kids. 24/7 peace of mind for you. Riley Children's Health emergency doctors and nurses are in the ER around the clock at IU Health North in Carmel. Learn more at rileychildrens.org/ER.
This hour powered by Absolute Comfort, your American Standard Mitsubishi electric ductless mini splits dealer.
Hammer and Nigel presents
It depends upon what the meaning of the word is.
Is this anything?
All right, let's rock and roll.
Hammer! How do we play Is This Anything?
I'll run some stories by you. You be the judge. You be the one to give us a verdict. Is the story anything or not?
Hit me.
So we already knew RFK Jr. was running for the presidency. Today, he announced he's running as an independent.
This country is ready for a history-making change. They are ready to reclaim their freedom, their independence. And that's why I'm here today. I'm here to declare myself an independent candidate.
Yeah, got away from the Democrats. He knew he'd never have a shot at getting votes as a Democrat. Don't know how much of a shot he has as an independent. I think it might be bad for Donald Trump. Some of the independents that didn't know who to vote for, either Trump or Biden, they might go for RFK Jr. at this point. I like the guy. I think he was a real, but boy, some of his climate change stuff, man, at one point in his career, he said he thought climate deniers should go to jail. He walked that back a little bit, but I still need to read the book. My neighbor was kind enough to give me his book that he wrote about Anthony Fauci, the real Anthony Fauci, and how he kind of, during the AIDS crisis, partnered up with pharmaceutical firms instead of looking at, the off-patent therapeutic treatments for AIDS, which is kind of the same thing he did with COVID. So, yeah, this is something. Do you think that he's going to pull more votes from Biden or Trump? Because I think it's Trump.
I agree with you.
It could be bad news for Trump.
Normally, when there's a third party, it hurts the incumbent. But right now, even folks who voted for Biden back in 2020, a lot of them have some buyer's remorse, especially as we look at what's happening from a foreign policy standpoint right now. So there were a lot of folks that were going to kind of hold their nose and go into the ballot box and vote for a guy they don't like, but a guy they thought could do a better job in Donald Trump. Now that they've got another candidate to choose from, I'm with you. I think this is going to hurt Donald Trump more than it will Joe Biden. Is this anything? Here's a guy seeing a rat pop out from under the hood of his car as he drives about 45 miles per hour on a highway.
Oh, no.
In upstate New York.
Holy hell. I just got way upstate and I brought a rat with me from Brooklyn. Where'd it go? I don't know where it went. Just don't eat my wires.
The only thing you can do is just kind of keep driving. I mean, the comments on the social media is like, put the windshield wipers on. There's no grip there or anything like that. So I was amazed by it.
So the rat pops out from underneath the hood.
Yeah, I was watching the video earlier. He's just driving and he just, while he's driving, pops out from underneath the hood. And that was my first thought. Turn on the windshield wipers. Get him off there like a bee or a bug.
Right.
Or something like that. I don't know why I didn't try that. But that's pretty gross. That's I have nightmares about how like rats will jump up and bite my neck and good thing I don't live in New York City.
Because that should tell you how fearless the rats are from New York City.
Well, they don't care. Yeah.
They're like stunt rats now. Like this rat is doing the same thing that like Brian Baker does, right? He's going to get into a car and do some sort of stunt. These are fearless rats. And when you look at some of the rats in New York compared to other places, it's not even close. It's like rats on steroids in New York City. These are big, scary mamma jammas. Like, you better have a baseball bat to defeat some of these things. Is this anything? Here's a dermatologist with a warning about 3 places on the body that you probably don't wash enough.
Okay.
Behind your ear. If you like this behind your ear and you notice an odor to it or you feel something, you should be washing it more. This is also a super common area to get flaking and build up like dandruff. Also not washing your belly button enough. This is a super common area to collect sweat, debris, dirt, build up. In fact, if you're not cleaning it enough, you'll have so much debris and dirt in there that you can develop a navel stone. Finally, you're definitely not cleaning your fingernails enough. Showering, you really need to get under those nails with a scrub brush to get rid of the dirt, debris, and build up. If you keep getting bacterial infections on the skin, folliculitis, you could be a colonizer of MRSA in those areas.
Good Lord. Human beings are just so gross, man. Yeah, that's something. And I'm looking, like, especially with your navel, like your belly button.
Right.
Like, I was watching this TikTok earlier of this woman going through this, and she showed what a black navel stone is. And what it is disgusting. And I quite potentially have the possibility to start gagging right now during this segment. But I noticed she didn't say taint.
Yeah, it actually came in at number 4, actually. It just,
okay, all right.
Just made the list. Would you love to hear that, woman? And number 4, the taint. It's the Hammer and Nigel show.
The future of joint pain relief is here. It's QC Kinetics, advanced regenerative medicine. Tony Katz here. And if you've been told more steroids or surgery are your only options, don't be so fast. Get a second opinion and learn more about how you can harness your body's own healing agents to attack that joint pain. QC Kinetics doesn't mask the pain. These treatments go to the very root of the problem, using concentrated healing properties placed directly in your joint to restore and repair that damaged tissue. No more pain in your knees knees, your hips, your shoulder, your back, with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. With demand so strong, they are expanding their hours at QC Kinetics to include Saturday appointments. Call the local medical professionals and get a free consultation today at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. QC Kinetics is in Eagle Creek, in Greenwood, and now in Carmel. 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN. QC Kinetics. 317-559-PAIN.
Hey, what's up? It's Hammer from the Hammer and Nigel show. The holidays are right around the corner. How would you like to wipe some debt off before the end of the year? So if you want to pay off some of those ridiculous 27% interest credit cards, call my friends at Loan Pronto, 317-953-6525, or visit their website, loanpronto.com. With Loan Pronto, you could get $50,000 or $100,000 out right now. So you can dig yourself out of that credit card debt, or maybe you want to get some money out to do some remodeling, take care of the homestead a little bit. You can do whatever you want, and Loan Pronto makes the whole process incredibly easy. Very little paperwork, and usually without an appraisal. 953-6525. That's 953-6525, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Culture tells teenagers that truth is relative and based on how they feel and how others feel. With this mindset, it's no wonder that depression, confusion, and suicidal tendencies are on the rise in teenagers today. At Life Church, we know a truth, and it's not based on feelings. If you have a teenager in your life, invite them to our Truth Conference, October 14th and 15th. For more information, go to lifechurchin.com. This is Tina Pavey, Director of Next Gen Ministries. Parents, you can do this. We will help you.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
They're not backing down. 60 degrees, cloudy in downtown Indianapolis. Your radar is clear. Low temps drop below 40 tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 4:30. Violence in Israel from Hamas over the weekend led to the deaths of hundreds of people, including several Americans. Fox's Trey Yingst reports.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressing his nation and the world with one message, saying Hamas wanted war, Hamas will get war. He went on to describe the atrocities that have taken place in southern Israel and the preparations by his soldiers to get ready for what will be days of fighting. As Netanyahu described it, the response from Israel will reverberate through generations of Gazans as Israel prepares to continue strikes from the air and move ground troops into the Gaza Strip.
Hamas is threatening to kill any Israeli hostages in response to any airstrikes that kill civilians. Republican candidate for president Ron DeSantis says the U.S. needs a stronger leader in times like these.
This is a situation that demands leadership, and right now, this is a president that's just missing in action. He's not stepping up to lead, and this is not what the American people should expect from the leader.
White House officials say the president has been engaging in talks and supporting Israel, and that he's committed to helping them defeat Hamas's forces. The body of a former Greenwood police officer was found in Craig Park Sunday morning. The Johnson County Coroner's Office is trying to figure out what happened. The man was ID'd as Zane Hennig. An autopsy is going to be performed this afternoon. Foul play is not suspected. Hennig is one of 3 officers that resigned this summer over violating the department's technology use policy. Colts running back Jonathan Taylor signed a 3-year contract extension over the weekend.
It means a lot just to be able to know that I'm going to be here playing for the best fans in the world, playing with some of the best players in the world, and to just know that it's a family atmosphere here.
Taylor says he'd love to retire in the Indianapolis Colts. Your stock report today, the Dow finished up by 197 to 33,604. The NASDAQ up by 52 to 13,484. And the S&P 500 up by 27, closing your Monday at 4,335. Traffic and weather in 1 minute. Your time is 4:32.
Premier Deck Coating, the ultimate deck protection. Who are they? Well, they're a sister company of Rhino Shield, and Premier Deck Coating is the product you need if you're tired of applying the same old stain and paint every couple of years to your deck. It's Terry, Stacy, and David and I have a deck that's probably 25 years old. The countless hours and the money that we spend on maintaining that deck never ends. And then we heard about Premier Deck Coating. family-owned, based right here in Indy, and they are going to completely transform our deck with their special formulated product, which repels moisture, scratch-resistant in virtually any color that we want, and backed by a 10-year guarantee. No more spending time staining or painting every year. Premier Deck Coating will keep our deck looking great for years to come. Premier Deck Coating can also do fences and pergolas, too. For a free quote, call 317-696-4071 or visit premierdeckcoating.com.
With traffic at 434, here's Matt Bear.
Everson eastbound 465 closed at I-69. It's because of a semi-crash. We're stopped back to Keystone Avenue. And we're closed the ramp from southbound 69 like you're coming down from Fishers to southbound 465. That is all shut down to limit traffic onto the interstate. And right now, 69 is backed up to 106th Street. Again, eastbound 465, the part that's closed, is stopped to Keystone Avenue. Westbound lanes also bad on the north side. Westbound 465 stop and go from Meridian over to Ditch Road. And that's a crash heading out of downtown on 65. Northbound 65 at 38th Kessler. Left lane is blocked. Traffic sponsored by B Window. Design it before you buy it with B Window. Now for a limited time, get up to 50% off all products, 2.99% financing, and a $550 installation credit. Trust your home to B. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Frost advisories are in place across central Indiana for tonight. Mostly clear. Our low temperatures in the upper 30s. Tuesday, plenty of sunshine in the forecast. High temperatures in the low 60s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
The only way to bag a classy lady is to give her 2 tickets to the gun show.
Monday Gun Day with the gun guy.
Just watch out for the guns. They'll get you.
Guy Wilford.
Stop calling your arms guns.
Hammer and Nigel show.
My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer's got a special guest on the WIBC hotline.
He is a 2A instructor. He's a man that has put together some of the gun laws in the state of Indiana, and he's the host of the Gun Guy Show. Guy Relford joins us. Guy, how are you?
Man, I'm great, you guys, and thanks as always to our sponsor for Monday Gun Day. That's Premier Arms in Brownsburg, with the largest selection of new, used, and historic firearms in the Midwest, and PA Jewelers located right in the store. Check them out at 3754 South Green Street in Brownsburg or premierarms.com.
Guy, I'm going to play some audio for you here in a moment from the mayoral debate last night where the topic of guns came up. But before we get there, the biggest story in the world is what's happening with Israel right now. I'm curious as to your perspective.
Man, I'll tell you, as I've seen some of that video and seen that story unfold, you guys, I've gone right back, for me, you'd probably expect. I go right back to the wording of our Second Amendment and why it is that our founders had the extreme wisdom to make sure that the right to keep and bear arms was preserved in our Constitution, because it says right there in the first phrase, necessary for the security of a free state. I mean, and if you're one of those folks that, you know, whose home's been invaded, or your family's been taken hostage, God forbid you've had family members murdered. What are those words? Necessary for the security of a free state. What do those words mean to you right now? And because that's exactly why we have a Second Amendment. And so it's not just, you know, as we hear from our idiot politicians all the time, you know, you don't need that gun for hunting deer, or you don't need that gun for hunting ducks, or you don't need a Kevlar vest to hunt deer, as our president likes to say. That's not what it's about. It's about necessary for the security of a free state. And when the citizenry is armed and the citizenry is prepared and equipped to be that security for a free state, then you avoid atrocities just like we're seeing unfold on the TV every hour now.
And you know what else I thought about, Guy, is the fact that our border is wide open, and there are 1.7 million known gotaways. There have been 80 apprehensions of people trying to enter illegally with names that are on the terrorist watch list. Who made it through the border that didn't get caught? You know what I'm saying? Like, who is out there? What is being planned? Is anybody from Hamas, anybody from Hezbollah in this country right now planning similar attacks. And I was just thinking the exact same thing, man. It makes me want to go immediately to a gun store and load up.
Well, yeah, and to get the most effective firearm that you can purchase and that you're trained and yes. comfortable managing, and that's why we have the Second Amendment. That's why those arms that are commonly used for lawful purposes are protected, as our Supreme Court says. But no, you're right, and government as defined in our Constitution is supposed to be very, very limited. But one of the powers it's supposed to have and it's supposed to accomplish is to maintain the security of our borders. That's the job of the federal government, and that's built right into the Constitution. And while the federal government wants to regulate in all these areas that our founders never envisioned in a million years, including restricting our Second Amendment rights, what they're not doing is doing what they are supposed to do and what they're specifically charged to do in the Constitution, maintaining our borders and the security and integrity of our borders. So if our government's not going to do that, does that mean it's just not going to get done, or does that mean it's left to the citizens to defend themselves, their homes, and their families? I know we all know the answer to that question.
And Guy, you're so right. Next time someone says, well, why does anybody need an AR-15? You can point to what's happening here in Israel as to the answer to that question. At this point, you're not worried about maybe an attack from the government. You're worried about some sort of home invasion that could be coordinated and funded. So I think that's an important part of this conversation. Now,
you're dead on. You're dead on from a historical perspective too, because that's why both the word security and free are in that preamble in the Second Amendment, because security is referring specifically to helping the government repel a foreign invader. Security of a free state makes sure that we can also stand up to the government if it becomes tyrannical as well. That's exactly what those two words mean, so you nailed it.
So this brings us to our backyard of Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm going to play you a soundbite here. We got a couple different clips I want to get your opinion on. We're going to start with Jefferson Shreve, because last night was the first mayoral debate. Now, last night's was predominantly about issues that matter to the black community, but the topic of firearms came up. So I'm going to play you this soundbite from Jefferson Shreve, and then I want to get your reaction, Guy. Allison, go ahead.
If I were a legislator, I'm running for a management position, but were I a legislator, and if I had heard the testimony of Superintendent Doug Carter or our Chief Taylor, who asked that we keep in place the permitting requirements if you want to conceal carry a weapon, I would have been persuaded by that testimony and left that in place. I think that the lawful age of gun purchases should be harmonized at 21. There's a carve out for private gun and knife shows, things like that. But there's a way to do this, and I will work through the proper channels with those relationships that I talked about leveraging at the front end of this debate this evening at the General Assembly as part of my legislative priorities package toward trying to get those things done in ways that can be implemented.
So that was Jefferson Shreve last night at the debate, still talking about how he's going to be some sort of deal maker to make this thing happen that they want to happen in Marion County. What's your perspective?
Well, I was in the room when the legislature heard the testimony of Superintendent Carter, and you guys have heard me say many times I respect Doug Carter a lot, but the committee and the entire legislature heard his testimony. They heard from Chief Taylor. They also heard the facts. They heard the facts from, at the time, the 23 other states that had adopted permitless carry, and learned that no, there's no increase in crime, there's no increase in attacks on police officers, and they heard the facts. So yes, we heard some emotional testimony, but then they also heard facts, and they were able to get past what we heard from law enforcement. Look, is it a mystery that law enforcement likes the permitting process? Of course not. It makes their job easier. If I was a law enforcement officer, I would rather be able to divide people up in terms of who has a gun. Those people with a permit don't go to jail. Those people without a permit do go to jail. That's easy. But that's also punishing law-abiding citizens who just didn't happen to get permission from the government to exercise a constitutional right. That's what constitutional carry or permitless carry is all about. And I would love for a 19 or 20-year-old service member who just got back from Afghanistan or Iraq or served over there when they were in that time frame, in that age frame, and be able to come back and look at Jefferson Street and say, hold on. So what you're saying is the government can put an M4, a firearm fully capable of automatic fire, or a drone or an artillery battery in my hands as an 18 or 19 or 20-year-old after training me to do so, and I can go defend this country in a foreign land and put my life on the line, and then I come back to Indiana and I can't go into a gun store and buy a shotgun to go hunting with my dad? Are you serious? I mean, that's what people need to understand. We say, oh, you shouldn't be able to buy a gun. First of all, under federal law, you have to be 21 to buy a pistol anyway, so Indiana can't affect that. No, by the way, that's already being reexamined as to whether that's even constitutional. But separately, Indiana wants to change the law on long guns after 18, 19, and 20-year-olds are eligible for military service, but they can't go in and buy a rifle or a shotgun to defend themselves with, or to go hunting with their family. That's ridiculous, and it's just pandering to what he perceives as the liberal base in Marion County in order to try to steal some votes from the other liberal trying to pander to the same base, which is Joe Hogsett. That's why it's such a losing strategy.
So that was the soundbite we played, the Republican candidate. I'm going to play you the Democrat incumbent here, Joe Hogsett, and let me know if you can tell any difference.
We have passed at the city council level, city county council level, increased the buying age to 21. I'm not talking about just doing nothing. I'm talking about taking action. And that's exactly what we've done. The city county council, with the administration's support, has raised an ordinance raising the age of carry or buying a gun to 21. We have already, as an ordinance here in the city of Indianapolis, banned permitless carry. We've banned the purchase of military-style assault weapons. And now we will advocate vigorously over in the halls of the General Assembly to have Marion County released from the preemption with laws that are already in effect that would take effect upon passage of that preemption. I think that's a very important step that we have taken. It's action toward the end. And besides, we've also added 3 additional special assistant United States attorneys to prosecute nothing but gun violence and violent crime in Marion County.
So, Guy, if you're somebody that doesn't follow this kind of stuff very closely and you hear those 2 candidates, and I said, which one of these do you think is the Republican? I think a lot of people might get it wrong.
I think a lot of people say none of the above.
Yeah, right.
All I heard was 2 liberal Democrats. I'm waiting still to hear from the Republican. But in terms of Hogsett saying, "Oh, we've already passed this in Marion County," yeah, it's contingent on the repeal of the preemption statute. There's no appetite in the General Assembly. Just because some liberals in Marion County, okay, one's got an R next to his name, doesn't matter. The fact that a couple of liberals from Marion County go to the General Assembly and say, hey, we want you to undo what you did in 2011, which is prevent municipalities, local governments from doing this exact thing. We want you to undo that because some liberals in Marion County really want you to. Oh, hell no, it doesn't have a chance. But in fact, what they don't understand, and what neither of these candidates are smart enough to understand, or at least smart enough to care about, is that they've given us, those who support the preemption law, the perfect argument for why we should always have the preemption law, which is look at the unconstitutional garbage that these people want to put in place. In fact, Marion County's already put in place contingent on the repeal of the statute if, in fact, the statute were to go away. Every one of these provisions is unconstitutional. Every single one of them is going to be defeated in court, but it's going to take litigation, and it's going to take people getting arrested or fined or otherwise had their rights infringed for these people to then just simply to try to garner some votes during an election. And in the meantime, what's only thing that stands in our way is a law that we should have forever in this state, and that's the preemption law. And they've unwittingly given us the perfect argument for why this should be the law for generations.
Guy, if somebody wants to ask you a question or continue this conversation, where can they find you?
Hey, follow me on Twitter, man, or X, I suppose. It's at Guy Relford.
Guy, you're the best. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys.
It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
If there is blame to go around, it will begin and it will end right here.
That's Joe Hogsett laying out his crime plan back in 2017.
I am responsible.
The results? Over 800 police have left the force, most since the protests when Joe was absent.
I am responsible.
Murders are up 52%, and the odds of getting away with it are better than a coin flip. Only 35% of cases were solved last year.
I am responsible.
Mental health is underfunded. Homelessness on the rise. And now, Indy ranks 4th in lethal overdoses.
I am responsible.
It's just not working.
I am responsible because I happen to be the mayor.
So I ask you, isn't it time for a change?
Paid for by Shreve for Mayor.
Mark Dietl is a real estate expert, man. He's the only one I trust to either sell my home and or find me a new one. Maybe you're a growing family or working from home means you need more space, like Jim and Emily in Shelbyville. They were ready for an upgrade. They heard about Mark on our show, and they were pretty impressed by his aggressive marketing plan. The home sold in 2 days for cash at the asking price. Plus, Mark also found them a new and bigger, better home.
Listen, you got a lot of options in the real estate game, but the best in the business for our money is Mark Dietl, because Mark Dietl's the only one we trust and recommend, and it's the guarantee that sold us. Mark Dietl guarantees your home sold at a reasonable and agreed upon price, or he will buy it. Call Mark Dietl today, 317-755-4232. That's 755-4232, or go to markdietl.com. Tell him Hammer and Nigel sent you.
No two breast cancers are the same, and no two treatment plans should be either. At Franciscan Health, we believe in breast cancer care that's specialized to each person, with treatment plans for your specific cancer. Combining compassion, dedication, innovation, and experience, our breast cancer care looks different for everyone because it should be specialized just for you. Schedule a consultation or a second opinion with our cancer experts at franciscanhealth.org/breastcancercare.
Basements get a bad rap, probably because so many of them are wet, leaky, and musty. Michaelis is putting an end to the horror show. Their time-tested waterproofing systems eliminate and prevent water issues. Damp and moldy becomes clean and healthy. They have a lot of homeowners enjoying their basements again. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
Hoosiers should know that the Holcomb administration is preparing to strip access to therapy from thousands of children with autism. These proposed cuts would devastate families caring for children with autism, force therapy centers to close, and lead to therapy deserts right here in West Central Indiana. Even worse, Governor Holcomb's administration is making this decision based on out-of-date information, skewing the results. We must stop this callous attack on Hoosier children with autism. Otherwise, thousands of Indiana families will lose access to services. Nicole Parker from Darlington is a mom of a child with autism who would lose access to services.
These callous cuts are not what Hoosiers stand for. I urge legislators and the State Budget Committee to say no to the Holcomb administration's proposed cuts.
Leaders of the State Budget Committee must reject the Holcomb administration's rate proposal. Support a rate that keeps centers open and protects life-changing therapy for children with autism. Paid for by the Market Institute.
Heat and cool with nearly geothermal efficiency in places you can't fit ductwork with Mitsubishi Electric ductless mini splits.
Just go to AbsoluteComfort.org. That's AbsoluteComfort.org.
Get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $149 and a free hallway too, and $50 off air duct cleaning with Zero Res. Schedule online at ZeroResIndy.com.
Design it before you buy it. Up to 50% off all products and 2.99% financing plus $550 installation credit.
Hey, we're pretty social people at WIBC. You can find us all over social media. See what we're up to on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on YouTube. We're never more than just away. Just search for 93 WIBC.
Tell me if you agree with this, and I just put this on the Hammer and Nigel Show Twitter. I think that I am responsible attack ad from Jefferson Shreve going at Hogsett. I think that's a brilliant commercial.
I do too.
I think that's a really good attack ad, good commercial, good campaign. Had he spent the first couple of months running that type of campaign, as opposed to blaming law-abiding gun owners for the crime in Indy, I think we'd have a ball game here. But instead, the staff surrounding Jefferson Shreve, incompetent. They have ran one of the worst campaigns in a long time. Jefferson Shreve is getting bad advice, and he's going along with it. But let me know what you think about that. It's on Twitter, @HammerandNigel. All right, Matt Bear, what's up?
Eastbound 465 shut down. All lanes closed at I-69 because of a semi crash. Semi hit the wall and jackknifed it. Now we're stopped back to Keystone Avenue. Because of this, they have closed the ramp from Fisher southbound 69 to southbound 465 to limit traffic into the area. We are stopped on southbound 69 to 106. In the meantime, Fall Creek Road's a mess right now. It stops from 86th Street down to 71st in parts. Same thing with Sargent and Hague. Traffic sponsored by B Window. Design it before you buy it with B Window. Now for a limited time, get up to 50% off all products. 2.99% financing and a $550 installation credit. Trust your home to be. I'm Matt Bear on Twitter at WIBC Traffic.
All right, we are looking at 61 right now at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center. Man, we've got a loaded 5 o'clock hour coming up. Friend of ours from Breitbart is Joel Pollock. He is one of the best you're going to find, and he's going to call in and give his perspective on what's happening in Israel.
Yeah, he is the senior editor at large at Breitbart, but he's also an expert on everything Israel. He will break down exactly what's going on, what's going to happen next, what you're going to see in Gaza, and how the Israelis will proceed moving forward, responding to this attack.
And we'll have more from that mayoral debate last night. Don't go anywhere. It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Being diagnosed with cancer doesn't mean facing it alone. At Community Health Network MD Anderson Cancer Center, we follow a multidisciplinary approach, bringing together specialists in every area of cancer care.
If it wasn't for that team, I wouldn't be here. They put the right plan together and made it work. I'm so grateful.
Your circle of support just got stronger. Learn more at ecommunity.com/cancer.
Accumulation, preservation, generation. At Busey Bank, these are the principles we use to build meaningful financial partnerships with our clients and their families. With sound advice and vast resources, partner with Busey for a personalized approach to your legacy. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Hey, it's Big Joe for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, Kirby Heating and Air Conditioning. Robert Kirby says they sell the American Standard brand because American Standard listens to the techs who install and service their products.
We went down to the factory and they want your feedback. Being in the field, you can actually see some things that they could change on the product to make it better. And right there on the line, I mean, they actually take your input.
Call Kirby Heating and Air Conditioning at 317-892-3614. Kirby is your trusted local independent American Standard dealer.
Hi, this is Denny Smith. When it comes to your well, preventive maintenance is the key to safe and reliable water. C&J is offering their well cleaning special, and it's a deal that really helps improve the quality of the water you consume every day. To prevent problems, you simply must do a bacteria sampling, amps test on the pump, switch analysis, pressure tank check, piping exam, and a flow evaluation. Clean your well to protect the water you drink, bathe in, and wash your clothes. Call C&J to keep your water source safe, sanitary, and reliable. 317-852-WELL.
Get revved up for the return of Indiana Pacers basketball. The season tips off with opening night presented by Kroger on Wednesday, October 25th.
Mathurin into the lane for a two-hand Smith slam, perfectly executed.
Be there for every dime, every dunk, every game-winning basket all season long.
T.J. McConnell with the steal and the basket.
Tickets for all games are now on sale. Fans' Choice and a Pacers Plus plan are also available. Visit Pacers.com/tickets for more info.
Living healthy is challenging, but it starts with one step. Whether you're ready to take that first step or ready to step up to a new level, the Personal Training Experience will help you do it on your schedule in your home. It's a complete fitness solution with a program customized just for you. They provide the equipment and come to you with 100% in-home training. Workouts will always be challenging, but making them work for you doesn't have to be. Start today by signing up for a free in-home workout at thepersonaltrainingexperience.com.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
If a wedding is approaching, that means a visit to Barrington Jewels and Clearwater Crossing. Dazzle the bride-to-be with diamond earring studs or a custom birthstone piece. Barrington Jewels has stunning opals, tourmaline, topaz, citrine, and every other birthstone to choose from. Don't forget watches from Rolex, Breitling, Omega, Tag Heuer, and more offered at steep discounts with special financing available. Save time and effort and shop Barrington Jewels first. And remember, you haven't seen a diamond until you've seen a Barrington diamond.
Coming up in 2 minutes, the body of a former police officer was found at a park Sunday. 3 people were shot on the west side this morning, and how Colts running back Jonathan Taylor feels about his contract extension. All that and more coming up after Fox News Radio from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 5 o'clock.
More Americans dead in Israel. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. President Biden just confirming at least 11 U.S. citizens have been killed in what he calls an appalling terrorist assault, the surprise attack by Hamas over the weekend. The president, in a written statement, also says it's likely that American citizens may be among the hostages held by Hamas. A senior U.S. defense official says an aircraft carrier strike group is expected to arrive in the eastern Mediterranean very soon.
The Pentagon ordered the USS Gerald R. Ford aircraft strike group to the eastern Mediterranean, closer to Israel, in a loud message of deterrence to Iran and its proxies, especially to Hezbollah in Lebanon.
Fox's Jennifer Griffin. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel didn't start the war, but will finish it.
Hamas is ISIS. And just as the forces of civilizations united to defeat ISIS, the forces of civilization must support Israel in defeating Hamas.
Fox's Trey Yingst is in southern Israel.
What we saw on Saturday was a massacre against innocent people. It was a shock to the Israeli system, something that was so unexpected.
But he says a bigger massacre is possible if it becomes a wider war with other militant groups.
When you look at the weapons that Hezbollah has, we're talking about precision-guided missiles that have been smuggled in from Iran. They have thousands of different positions, according to classified intelligence that we have reviewed, in southern and central Lebanon, and all of those positions are aimed at Israel. Israel does not have the missile defense capabilities to handle that many missiles and rockets that would be fired.
More than 900 are dead in Israel, more than 600 in Gaza. Delta becoming the latest airline to cancel flights to and from Tel Aviv. Across the U.S., security stepped up around Jewish facilities, federal agencies monitoring for any domestic threats. America is listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
He had resigned in August. 60 degrees, cloudy in downtown Indianapolis. All clear with your radar. Low of 39 tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 5:02. A former Greenwood and Indianapolis police officer was found dead at a park Sunday. John Herrick reports.
The Johnson County coroner does not expect foul play, but a medical examination and toxicology report both are pending for the death of Zane Hennig. Hennig was found at Craig Park, which is right by Our Lady of Greenwood Church and School. He resigned in August. Investigators say he's one of 3 officers who resigned after being accused of violating the department's information technology use policy. 2 other officers are accused of the same thing. They both have hearings with the Greenwood Police Merit Commission this month, the first of which is Wednesday. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
3 people were shot on the west side this morning. IMPD says it happened off Moeller Road, south of 38th Street, just before 11 in the morning. 2 people were found shot at a home. A third person was found shot about a mile west of there. Officers believe the 2 shootings are related, but that's yet to be confirmed. Helen Kurlander Goldstein is the president of the board of directors for the Jewish Federation of Indianapolis. She tells Wish TV her son lives in Israel. He's currently in a bomb shelter.
He's moved from Tel Aviv further inland because of the amount of rocket attacks that are taking place in Tel Aviv.
She says the mayor of a town close to Gaza, Ophir Lipstein, was killed by Hamas terrorists in his home. Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett says he cares about transparency.
For the first time, every patrol officer now has a body-worn camera. That simply has never been the case until the Hogsett administration.
From a debate Sunday night, his Republican challenger Jefferson Shreve said Hogsett is too slow or was too slow in helping police fight crime. Their next debate is October 23rd. Election day is November 7th. A 3-year contract extension means Colts running back Jonathan Taylor will be sticking around.
Like I said from day one, after my first season, I always wanted to retire a Colt. So to be able to take another step towards that, it's amazing.
Taylor says he wants to make sure he stays healthy moving forward. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 5:04.
The game of football is about pain. Ever since I was 5 years old, it's been all about football. It's been about running, jumping, blocking, tackling. I stopped playing at 31.
You're listening to Michael Robinson, retired pro fullback.
I thought that foot pain was going to be with me for the rest of my life. I'm so glad I met Good Feet. I'm so glad that those arch supports are in my shoes. I have terrible foot issues that prevented me from really having a normal life with my kids. With the Good Feet arch supports, man, I'm always ready. My kids actually got to enjoy me in the yard more, racing each other, backpedaling, teaching them some things, being a dad. If I had known about the Good Feet arch support earlier, I would have more than one championship. I would have 2 championship rings.
See what we can do for you with a free personalized arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
We're in your neighborhood. Visit goodfeet.com to find the location nearest to you.
With traffic on the 5s at 5:05. What's going on, Matt Bear?
Harrison, 465 is closed on the northeast side. Eastbound, 465 crash closure. I-69 at the semi tagging the barrier wall, jackknifing and causing stop traffic back to Keystone Avenue. We have also closed the ropes from southbound 69 to southbound 465. That ramp is shut down to limit traffic into the area. So in the meantime, we are stopped to 106th Street. Allisonville Road is not horrible as a southbound reroute right now. Crash north side, eastbound 465 between 865 and Michigan Road. It's in the middle of the interstate, stopping traffic back to West 86th Street. Traffic sponsored by B Window. Design it before you buy it with B Window. Now for a limited time, get up to 50% off all products, 2.99% financing, and a $550 installation credit. Trust your home to be. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Frost advisories are in place across central Indiana for tonight. Mostly clear. Our low temperatures in the upper 30s. Tuesday, plenty of sunshine in the forecast. High temperatures in the low 60s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos?
So let's rock it!
What we have seen here along the border, pure devastation. Mothers holding their injured children, pulling them out of cars and putting them into ambulances. Soldiers trying to revive their friends who died in front of our cameras. It is hell on earth for the population of Israel as this conflict has erupted with Hamas, and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the country is at war.
Fox News journalist Trey Yingst embedded down in Israel. The death toll keeps rising, 1,000 plus. At least 9 Americans dead. Hammer reports of more missing, possibility of being held hostage, which, you know, we just had Hamas come out and make a statement and said, hey, we're going to start killing these people soon.
And the Wall Street Journal confirming what most of us already knew who follow this kind of stuff. Iran helped plot this attack over a several-week span. the world's largest sponsor of terror, Iran, helping Hamas.
Imagine that.
You know, what's gross to me, though, Nige, and we talked about this earlier in the show, but you've got people coming out supporting the Palestinians here. Like, look, I understand it's a very complicated situation here, but women, children are being brutally murdered and slaughtered. These Hamas terrorists, and let's call them that because they're not militants, they're terrorists.
I keep on seeing the word militant in mainstream media.
No, they're terrorists going door to door, dragging bodies through the streets, and yet you've got people supporting that. BLM Indy is going to be part of this rally that's taking place Thursday at 5:30 here on Monument Circle.
Fun group of people.
Just absolutely disgusting. And also, you know, the insult to injury, we're hearing reports that U.S. military equipment left behind in Afghanistan was ultimately purchased by Iran and could have been used in these attacks.
Oh, I'm 99.9% certain it was. No question.
Keep in mind, it was General Milley. It was his call on keeping all of the military equipment in Afghanistan during that botched withdrawal, instead of either burning it all up, destroying it, or gassing it up and taking it somewhere else. It was his call to leave it there. Donald Trump was speaking at an event this weekend, and he talked about General Milley's decision.
You got a $50 million airplane. You got a $29 million gorgeous helicopter. We had every type of helicopter. Many of them brand new, literally out of the box. $70 million planes. You mean you think it's cheaper to leave it there so they can have it than it is to fill it up with a half a tank of gas and fly it into Pakistan or fly it back to our country? You think, yes, sir, we think it's cheaper, sir. That's when I realized he was a f***ing idiot.
Did I hear effing idiot? That was Trump talking about Milley?
Correct. Wow. That's when I knew he was an effing idiot. The Minister of Defense in Israel, quote, "The rules of war have changed. We will cripple Gaza so that it will remember it for the next 50 years.
Yeah, nobody's getting in or out of there right now. Nobody's coming in or out. No electricity, no food, no water, nothing.
And the images that we're seeing already are some of the most gruesome things I've seen.
I can't look at it. I won't look at it.
And it's not going to get better anytime soon. Like, this is real world stuff. This is real life. This isn't the movies. I was scrolling through Twitter over the weekend, and just somebody that I follow posted this video of a gruesome axe attack.
No.
Innocent civilians being attacked in their home, having their heads butchered with an axe. That's what's going on here, and I think a young generation in this country is in for an eye-opening experience of what war really is. Because the Israelis, they're fired up. They are ready to roll. Here is Fox News host and veteran Pete Hegseth.
Yeah, I'm not worried about how the Republicans would respond to this. I mean, how many wars were started under Donald Trump's watch? Not Ukraine, not this. The White House is staffed by pro-Palestinian millennials. It is, whose reflex is to tweet both sidesism. Hey, both sides are responsible. That's their reflex. In fact, the Palestinian branch of the State Department in Israel tweeted something just like that right away and then deleted it. That's their instinct. Blame both sides. Calm down, everybody. I watched Palestinian, they weren't just terrorists. This is an army. Go in and pull grandmas out and murder women and children. And what Israel's about to do is bring hell down on Hamas if they do it right. I mean real war, not like TV war. Real war, stacking bodies, dead people. Because Bibi Netanyahu's not going to mess around here. What happens when that happens? Will the pro-Palestinian millennials stay off their Twitter keep? I don't think they're going to be able to resist, let alone the squad. So it's going to take real fortitude to actually stand behind Israel.
Yeah, once the Israelis decide it's officially on. Now, they're already fighting back. Let's not get it twisted. There's a lot of dead Palestinians, dead terrorists from Hamas. But it hasn't even come close to starting for the Israelis yet. And this is a big, powerful military, and this is personal to them. So buckle up. This is not going to get pretty anytime soon. Nigel, last night, the first of a few of the Indy mayoral debates was held.
Oh, boy.
Hogsett v. Shreve. Now, this one was kind of specific to the needs of the black community.
Okay.
So, obviously, the issues that were brought up were catered to a specific audience last night. The topic of the IMPD was brought up. Is it diverse enough? Here is Boss Hogsett.
Too many of our neighborhoods feel as if they are policed and not protected and served. We've got to change that mindset, and we've got to make real progress in that area as well.
So again, Joe Hogsett taking a shot at the IMPD, which he always does.
Oh, yeah.
They're police, not protected.
He did it the day after the riots.
The first time he showed up, actually, from allegedly somewhere else. Okay, so that was Boss Hogsett. Here is the air quotes Republican Jefferson Shreve.
We moved salaries from $39,000 for a first-year officer up to $72,000, and that's pretty good money. And I believe that we're going to be able to attract people from communities of color to better represent the force that reflects this city.
I understand this was catered to the African-American community last night, but can we just attract decent police officers, no matter what the color or ethnicity?
Somebody who wants to do the job.
Yes.
And not have to worry about being criticized by their skin color, by whoever wins this mayor's race. I mean, I watched this full thing this morning. I came in a little bit early today, and I watched the YouTube stream of this.
I'm sorry.
This is the stuff I do for you guys listening to the show. And, of course, throughout this entire debate, and it was well over an hour, Jefferson Shreve, no attack against Joe Hogsett. And Joe Hogsett standing up there with a big fat lip, and he looks gross and disgusting because he, wink, wink, fell wearing flip-flops.
He's an old man. He's late 70s. Old men do that.
Yeah, they also binge drink.
They do.
Allegedly. And then you've got Jefferson Shreve, who lets him off the hook. Did not ask where he was at during the riots, did not bring up any of that stuff. What a weak campaign so far from Jefferson Shreve. I had such high hopes, Nige. I'm so disappointed. Yeah. And not only him, but the awful people running his campaign and the Marion County Republican group who thinks this is some sort of winning strategy. Unbelievable. All right, Matt Baer, what's up?
Northeast side closed this eastbound 465 and I-69 because of a semi-crash. That has traffic stopped back to Keystone Avenue. Again, eastbound lanes closed at 69 because of a crash and the ramp from southbound 69 to southbound 465 on the northeast side. They shut that down to limit traffic into the area, so traffic gets stopped on 69 back to 106. This is backed up all the southbound corridors. Zeitgeist on the northeast side. Fall Creek Road is awful. From 86th Street down to 71st. Tag Road, forget about it. Also, Sergeant Road, southbound lane stopped 86 to 82nd. Traffic sponsored by Isaacs and Isaacs. After a car wreck, it can feel like you're living in a horror show. Don't feel like the insurance company can make you feel you're living in a bad, scary movie. Just click to get help quick at WeWin.com. Happy Halloween from The Hammer. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Clear skies, 61 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center at 93 WIBC.
Indianapolis. With Mayor Joe Hogsett, we've made real progress. Billions in new construction, unemployment at a historic low, 700 new police, $1.2 billion in new infrastructure, hundreds of new streetlights, and thousands of college scholarships. Now Joe Hogsett is fighting the state abortion ban and to get guns off the street. But Joe knows the work isn't done. It's why he's hiring even more police, expanding community policing, and investing in programs that help keep kids out of trouble. And Jefferson Shreve, he supports banning abortion. And after getting an A rating from the NRA, Jefferson Shreve has been against any new gun laws. Jefferson Shreve is bringing Trump-style politics to Indianapolis and trashing our city. Re-elect Mayor Joe Hogsett. Steady leadership in times of change.
Paid for by Hogsett for Indianapolis. You probably know how much money you've saved in your IRA or 401k, correct?
Oh, I know to the penny. Casey and I work in radio, so it's not that much.
Okay, well, here's another question. Do you know how much you'll owe in taxes on this money in retirement?
Absolutely not, because I'm an idiot, Casey. That's why I seek the help of trained professionals.
Well, that's the most important number you really need to know, Rob. Otherwise, you're not going to know how much money you really do have.
Hey, it's Kendall and Casey. Learn how you could dramatically reduce the taxes on your IRA and 401k. Just go to SaveTaxesWithBill.com. That's SaveTaxesWithBill.com. Just input a few numbers and you'll instantly see how much money you could save in taxes when you retire. It's from Bill Dimry, our good friend right here in Indy.
Don't give the government a nickel more in taxes than you have to. Learn how much money you could save in taxes when you retire by going to SaveTaxesWithBill.com. It's SaveTaxesWithBill.com.
Somebody that I believe is going to be your next senator from the great state of Indiana, which I love so much, Jim Banks.
This is Donald Trump Jr. with an important message. My father and I have both endorsed Jim Banks for the United States Senate. Jim is a pro-Trump conservative, a fighter, and one of President Trump's strongest warriors against the swamp. Jim served our nation overseas in Afghanistan and will always fight to put America first. He's been a leader on securing our border, standing up to China, and ending wokeism in the military. When President Trump is back in the White House, he's going to need proven warriors fighting for the America First agenda in the U.S. Senate. So please support our good friend Jim Banks. America Leadership PAC is responsible for the content of this message, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.americanleadershippac.org.
Colorectal cancer rates are on the rise, especially in younger adults. The good news? It's one of the few cancers that can be prevented through screening. So we're keeping up, making some changes, and saving lives. Franciscan Health now offers colonoscopy screenings for adults aged 45 and up. No doctor referral needed. And they're covered at 100% by most insurance plans. Are you 45? Screen sooner. Schedule your colonoscopy at franciscanhealth.org/coloncare.
Bring smiles to all when shopping online with Dell Technologies Gift Guide. Whether it's for the artist, the entrepreneur, the student, or the streamer, you'll find the perfect gift for everyone on your list. Dell.com/gift guide makes gifting easy with a carefully curated selection of our best tech. Shop now to explore our innovative PCs like the XPS 13 laptop, powered by the latest Intel Core processors, plus this season's top accessories. Visit Dell.com/gift guide today to get a jump on your holiday gift list. That's Dell.com/gift guide.
Everyone knows that soaking in Epsom salts can make you feel better. Now imagine soaking in Epsom salts in a Royal Spa hot tub.
Ah, Royal Spa.
This hour powered by Absolute Comfort, your American Standard Mitsubishi electric ductless mini splits dealer.
The Hammer and Nigel Show. My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer right over there with a special guest on the hotline.
Kevin Bowen is one half of the morning show on our sister sports station, 107.5 The Fan. KB and Andy. KB, let's start with the injury. What do we know about the timeline of Richardson's return for the Colts?
Yeah, unfortunately, it sounds like he is going to miss some time. Colts still waiting, just kind of official word and confirmation on how much time, but that's the bummer from yesterday, guys. Is honestly, when you and I have had these Monday calls throughout the year, we've been talking about different types of injuries, 4 different types of injuries, 4 different body parts, all from runs outside of the pocket. And Richardson's development is so vital and precious this season and needed and all of that. And I think you'd be beyond naive to just sit here and act like, oh, this is a fluke, everything will be fine. How long he can sustain this, the window of his career. Unfortunately, I think all of those are, questions that deserve to be asked right now.
And we're hearing it's an AC joint sprain of the shoulder. I guess if you're looking at the glass half full, it's not a complete separation. So I guess, would this be encouraging news, Kevin?
Yeah, we'll have to wait to see if surgery is needed or not. Some guys, they can rehab this and return rather quickly. And then, if the grade is severe enough, it could be a little bit more of an extended period of time. Again, I just think the bummer is he's expected to miss multiple weeks. And I think when you get into this sort of, part of the season, you're playing a huge game on Sunday in Jacksonville. I mean, that would be such a great opportunity for him to experience that. And unfortunately, I mean, you're going to look back on his rookie season, and even if he does play, whatever the final, month and a half, 2 months of the season, you're still looking at a guy that missed quite a bit of time with, a variety of injuries. I think that's something that, if you look at the types of hits that have sent him out of games, I don't think they're the most malicious hits or 300-pounders falling on him in the pocket. And then also, again, we're talking about 4 different body parts. It's not like he's just had like a nagging ankle or some sort of different injury that showed up time and time again.
And is this just a reality that Colts fans are going to have to live with when we have this type of quarterback with his style and his motion and his mobility?
Yeah, Nigel, it's probably a fair way to put it. I mean, certainly, the Colts would counter and say, 6'4" and 240. We felt like, he could withstand more of that, and certainly he is a much different style quarterback than they're used to. But you also do expose him to more hits when you have his style. Like, you can't ignore running him, because why else would you draft him number 4 overall? That's such an element that made him as attractive as he was. And I think the bummer is he's shown you promise. Like, it would be one thing if you had early season inconsistencies of his playing. We would just chalk that up to, okay, he's still growing, he needs time, he needs support around him, et cetera, et cetera. Now the question a month into it is, can he stay healthy enough? Well, it's hard to improve that. It's hard to, try and, if we just do this and do that, A plus B, that should all of a sudden equal a little bit better results. Injury situations don't fall into that same category as, player improvement.
So now it's Minshew mania. Gardner Minshew becomes the guy to lead the Indianapolis Colts. And you mentioned it earlier, big divisional road game, first place on the line at Jacksonville this Sunday. Does this offense change with Gardner Minshew calling the shots?
Yeah, certainly. And again, credit to Shane Steichen and Gardner Minshew. I mean, he's been thrown into the second quarters of 2 different divisional games this season. And for the most part, it's been about what you would dream of from a backup quarterback. I mean, we've seen it here in this market. I mean, when backups get thrown into the middle of a game like that, it can be volatile, it can be up and down, and probably more down than up. And Minshew led a trio of scoring drives yesterday, including that clock-eating drive that kind of iced the game. But certainly stylistically, you aren't going to run the quarterback. I don't think you're going to pepper opposing defenses with shots down the field. You're going to lean on Zach Moss and now Jonathan Taylor and certainly try to hope that your offensive line and your defense can continue to play pretty good football for you. But I think Minshew has also proven he can be an efficient quarterback. It's not just the explosive nature down the field or with his legs that you would have with Richardson.
Yeah, the running back, Zach Moss, love what we saw out of him yesterday. And now with kind of the 1-2 punch with him and Jonathan Taylor, that certainly bodes well for Gardner Minshew in the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, Moss is outstanding again yesterday. I mean, he obviously had the big run, the 57-yard touchdown run. But even if you take that out, he still had, I think it was 22 carries for 109 yards, which is a great, average if you slice that down to yards per carry. And it came against the number 1 ranked run defense. So, I thought rookie Josh Downs, number 1, the young wideout, had a really nice game. And those are 2 at the start of the year. If you would have told me, hey, the Colts are going to win a big Week 5 divisional game, first time they've beaten Tennessee in 5 times, first time they've won a home game in nearly a year, I would not have had Zach Moss and Josh Downs atop the, reasons why. But certainly if you're picking a runner and if you're picking a pass catcher, those 2 would be atop that list from yesterday.
So Jonathan Taylor got his wish. Jonathan Taylor and his agent, they got exactly what they were looking for. Your thoughts?
Yeah, an absolutely crazy end to this story, and certainly a wild kind of 48 hours from Taylor's press conference on Thursday to putting pen to paper and obviously making his debut then yesterday. I don't know how much you guys and I have talked about this, but I think I remember a conversation right before the season started where I had kind of pegged 3-year extension for $39 million. To me, that slotted him in a range of not the top 2 running backs in the league, but kind of right on more of those traditional first and second down runners. That's what Taylor is. And again, the Colts have the money to spend. They don't spend money very often. To me, when you're talking about a player that directly impacts Anthony Richardson, still one of 24 years old, it made a lot of sense to kind of do it on the 3-year extension timeline. It ended up being $42 million, so a little bit more. But Hammer, to your earlier point, as much as the childish soap opera drama played out in a very public manner, boy, Jonathan Taylor and his agent got exactly what they wanted. I mean, he sat out the first 4 weeks of the season. We can debate how healthy he was. He got paid all 4 of those weeks, and now he really gets paid with this extension and a lot of guarantees within it. So, again, at times I thought it was very junior high-ish drama, but at the end of the day, certainly Taylor wins, and obviously the Colts win as well because they give an offense that I think lacks explosive playmakers. They give Anthony Richardson or Gardner Minshew that type of guy.
KB, we're up against it. We got about 30 seconds left, though. But is there any concern, though, that the other players on this team, let's say Anthony Richardson is somebody you want to re-sign, he's seeing exactly what's going on here. If you act like a clown, if your agent runs his mouth, you can get exactly what you want. Isn't that a bad precedence to set?
Yeah, it's a totally fair point, Hammer. I would say, yes, they acted like a clown, but they also had a resume that was, kind of Ivy League-like resume. I mean, this was the guy that set a franchise record for your rich running back history just a couple of years ago. He led the NFL in rushing. He has the highest yards per carry of any running back in league history through 3 years. So not every guy in that locker room can take that resume to Chris Ballard and take that resume to Jim Irsay. So I think that's where you do have a little bit of a different precedent just in terms of, can you back it up? It's one thing to run your mouth. Can you back it up with your resume? And Taylor certainly has one that I think is worth it.
Kevin Bowen, 107.5 The Fan. Catch him mornings, KB and Andy. Kevin, you're the best. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you, guys.
All right, Hammer, coming up next, everything you need to know about what happened in Israel over the weekend. Breitbart News senior editor-at-large Joel Pollock will break it all down. That's right after the news.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
They say they're going to fight back. Mostly cloudy, 59 degrees downtown. All clear to radar. You've got a low of 39 tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 5:30. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says his country will not back down from Hamas.
We have always known what the Hamas have been. Now the whole world knows. Hamas is the ISIS. And we will beat it just like the Western world has beaten ISIS.
The Prime Minister also thanked President Biden for the United States' support. Several Americans are among the nearly 1,200 who have died. U.S. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby tells Fox News the U.S. is working with its allies to find any American hostages in Israel.
We have been in very close contact with Israeli officials about hostage recovery efforts. Well, about everything, but certainly including hostage recovery efforts. And we're talking to them about resources and capabilities and needs that they might have that we might be able to help them with. That's about as far as I'm able to go today, but clearly we are very, very focused on this problem set.
President Biden confirmed at least 11 Americans have been killed in the Middle East. The body of a former Greenwood police officer was found in Craig Park Sunday morning. The Johnson County Coroner's Office is trying to figure out what happened. The man was ID'd as Zane Hennig. Foul play not suspected. Hennig is one of 3 officers that resigned over the summer after violating the department's technology use policy. Jonathan Taylor says his 3-year contract extension will keep him in a city that's embraced him.
It means a lot just to be able to know that I'm going to be here playing for the best fans in the world, playing with some of the best players in the world, and to just know that it's a family atmosphere here.
The running back says he wants to retire a Colt. Hoosiers are enjoying legalized sports betting. Sam Fritz reports.
A press release from NoDepositRewards.com has the Hoosier State placed 9th overall in terms of states that spend the most money on sports betting. Last year, Hoosiers placed $4.4 billion in bets. The Indiana Gaming Commission publishes monthly tax numbers on gambling around the state on their website. The latest report for the month of August says that in sports wagers alone, Indiana collected $2.2 million in taxable revenue. For the 2023 fiscal year, Indiana has already collected $39.5 million. Sam Fritz, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
With traffic at 532, here's Matt Baer.
Harrison, northeast side, eastbound 465, closed at 69, stop to Keystone Avenue. And the ramp from southbound 69 to southbound 465 is shut down because of the crash. Heading down from southbound 465 right now. Traffic on I-69 stopped to 106 and a little bit beyond. Crash north side eastbound to 465 before Michigan Road. It's blocking a center lane. Now 2 left lanes are blocked. Traffic stopped into the interchange with I-865 back on the northbound side to West 79th Street. And a medical emergency on the west side. It is southbound 465 at Sam Jones. The right center lane is blocked, causing traffic to back up to Washington. Traffic sponsored by Grand Appliance. Shop the 93rd anniversary sale. Grand Appliance for unbeatable prices on top brands like Whirlpool, Electrolux, LG, Samsung, and more. Visit grandappliance.com for complete details. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Frost advisories are in place across central Indiana for tonight. Mostly clear. Our low temperatures in the upper 30s. Tuesday, plenty of sunshine in the forecast. High temperatures in the low 60s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
It's the Hammer and Nigel show. My name is Nigel. That's Hammer over there. Over 1,000 people massacred in a terrorist attack in Israel. Some of those were Americans. Hamas's terrorist organization that was responsible, backed by Iran. We'll go to a top expert on Israel and senior editor at large for Breitbart, Joel Pollock. Joel, thank you for coming on such short notice. What's your overall assessment of what you've seen in Israel over the past weekend and the ensuing response?
Well, this is an existential threat to Israel, a terror attack that's the worst massacre of Jews since the Holocaust, and the most serious breach of Israeli security since the founding of the State of Israel. Many people have described it, including the spokesman for the Israeli army, as the worst day in Israel's history. Not just because of the scale, which is bad enough, but because of the way in which people were killed. Innocent people, mothers, children, grandmothers, teenagers at a dance party, killed, abused, tortured, kidnapped. Now, over 100 Israelis are currently being held by Hamas and Islamic Jihad in the Gaza Strip. This is not something that Israel can tolerate. These scenes on social media, some of the videos of people being loaded into trucks, their bodies trampled by Palestinian gunmen, these are scenes from the Nazi Holocaust of the Second World War. And Israel has now mobilized 300,000 reservists in the past 48 hours. That more than doubles the size of the Israeli military in the field. They're going into Gaza, and they're going in hard.
How in the world could this have escaped intelligence officials? How did they not see this coming?
I think that Israeli intelligence and U.S. intelligence were monitoring the situation and probably understood that Palestinian terrorists were working with Iran and were preparing some kind of attack. But I think there was a false sense of security because the conventional wisdom was that Hamas was too weakened by past rocket wars to mount any kind of large-scale attack. And also, if you recall, earlier this year, there was a skirmish between Israel and the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, which is an Iranian terror group. And Israel won that very decisively, and Hamas did not even intervene. So the conventional wisdom was Hamas was being careful. They knew they were too weak to face Israel. They wanted to conserve their resources, and they were just happy to control the humanitarian aid that came into the Gaza Strip. So that turns out to have been an incorrect conclusion, that Hamas was, in fact, biding its time and preparing for this kind of attack. A very low-tech attack in some ways, cutting holes through a fence, driving trucks through. In some ways, a very high-tech attack because they used drones to knock out Israeli observation posts along the border. That's not technology that's homegrown. That's technology that comes from Iran. And it may have, in fact, been operated by Iranian special forces. We don't know. But the ability to target something effectively using drones that aren't assembled, as far as we know, in the Gaza Strip means that they got help from Iran and maybe even from Russia, because Iran, of course, is working with Russia in deploying drones in the field against Ukrainian forces. So this was a sophisticated attack. It used primitive methods mixed with very high-tech methods, probably supplied by Iran. And it came as a surprise because both Israel and the United States assumed that these regimes were, at least for now, going to sit on their hands. The Biden administration certainly felt that way. They've been negotiating with Iran, giving them $6 billion for American hostages, trying to get them to negotiate an Iran deal. They probably presumed that Iran would not want to start some hostilities. And Israel felt the same way about Hamas, that they had taken a beating in the last several conflicts and they didn't want to get involved. So that turns out to have been wrong. And Iran and Hamas and other Palestinian groups teamed up to carry out this atrocity, which is being celebrated, by the way, on the streets of the United States by left-wing groups like the Democratic Socialists of America. Luckily, there's bipartisan support for Israel, but the people out in the streets celebrating Palestinians ripping children from their families and parading naked women's bodies on the streets of Gaza. Congratulations, you've now achieved a new low in human immorality.
Joel, Jason Hammer here. One of the things I heard Nikki Haley say over the weekend, former UN ambassador, is we don't know who's coming across our border right now, and when the United States gets distracted, things like this happen worldwide. Do you feel there's any chance or any fear that the same people chanting death to Israel, death to America, all in the same breath, might be trying to plan something here on the United States mainland?
Of course. Well, they've planned things before, but also they have, in fact, killed Americans. I mean, many Americans were among those killed and captured, not just Jewish Americans. I think when the stories come out, we may find that there were simply tourists who were at a rave festival or just checking out the place who, unfortunately, were wrapped up in this. And it's a big problem for Hamas because they've now got, well, let me put it this way. It would have been a big problem if Donald Trump were president because, or Ronald Reagan, you did not mess with Americans when those guys were president. We don't know about Joe Biden. He's shown a propensity to give away a lot of money and to trade prisoners and so forth. I hope he doesn't this time, but that's where we are. America is already being targeted, and our southern border is porous. I've said for a long time that it's a national security problem, not an immigration problem, and it infuriates me when the White House is asked a question about the southern border and they answer by talking about immigration reform legislation rather than talking about enforcing the border. Now they're going to build 20 miles of wall, which they made fun of Trump for building. Yeah. But, you know, there only is one thing that works, and that is to have physical barriers and very, very tight patrols and controls of the border. Even that may not be enough. I mean, look at what happened in Israel where they just cut through the fence. But you need at least some physical barrier to slow down the invasion of a potential enemy. And we have a porous southern border. If a terror organization wanted to bring terrorists, God forbid, into the United States and just drive into border towns and start shooting people, they could do so.
Breitbart News senior editor-at-large Joel Pollock here on the Hammer and Nigel show. So in terms of response and retaliation, are we talking Israeli boots on the ground in Gaza? What do they do now? What is the response?
I think they're going to continue attacking Hamas and Islamic Jihad sites. And I think after a period of bombardment, we will see Israeli troops march through field by field, street by street, and they will fight Hamas, and they will encounter booby-trapped homes and streets and all kinds of terrible dangers. But this is going to be a street-by-street fight to get rid of the terrorists next door. I think there are going to be boots on the ground. There are going to be a lot of destroyed buildings. There will be a lot of Palestinian casualties because that's what happens when your country starts a war and starts a war against civilians. I think that Israel is going to have to do whatever it takes to get rid of Hamas in Gaza.
And Joel, you say whatever it takes, and that's something we've been talking about throughout the show. The scenes we've already seen are pretty grisly, and it's not going to get better anytime soon. Like, there's a whole younger generation out there that has no idea what real, horrific, grisly war looks like. And with a lot of these videos being put out on social media, I've seen a lot on Twitter over the weekend. I think this is going to be really eye-opening for a lot of people.
It's going to be eye-opening. It's a reminder that the Palestinian cause, sadly, at least as it has been led throughout history, has always been associated with violence and destruction. It's probably the most destructive political cause since the Second World War. And it's the reason we stand in security lines at airports. It's the reason that airplane hijacking became a thing. It's the reason suicide bombing became a thing. The Palestinian cause is a negative cause. There are never any pro-Palestinian demonstrations around anything else except killing Israelis. They don't come out on any holidays of their own. They just come out on Israel's Independence Day and protest the existence of Israel. It doesn't have to be this way. Ordinary Palestinians, many of them who live in the area, want simply to go about their lives. They want a better life for themselves and their families. But the leaders of these Palestinian organizations and the people who support them outside of the region, like the people showing up in Times Square or San Francisco yesterday, they are part of the problem because they encourage extremism. They encourage terrorism against innocent civilians. Not just encourage, they celebrate it. They want it. Yeah. They view it as a victory. They think it's a great victory. Iran called it a great victory because they dragged the bodies of women through the street. That's a great victory for Iran. And so, this is the kind of thing that no society can tolerate. And so while the loss of life on both sides is going to be regrettable, there are going to be many Israeli casualties, and there are going to be many more Palestinian casualties until Hamas is completely eliminated. And Israel may have to retake Gaza. They may have to occupy it again militarily. They may have to annex it or parts of it to maintain security in the future. But this is clear proof that coexisting alongside an armed terrorist state is not viable. And by the way, the cause of a Palestinian state, the so-called two-state solution, is now dead. There will be no Palestinian state next to Israel. Israel cannot afford it. And I don't even think the Palestinians want it. They just want to end Israel. They don't actually want their own state. That cannot be allowed to happen. Finally, Joel, what's the United States' role in all of this? I know there's some aircraft carriers headed that way, or maybe they're already there. What is that message sending? Well, it sends a number of messages. First of all, there are Americans who are being held captive by these Palestinian terrorists. So it raises the prospect that American special forces might actually go into Gaza and rescue the American hostages. They may leave it to the Israelis to do that, but it does become something that the Palestinian terrorists have to think about. Secondly, it sends a message to Iran that if this escalates, if Iran decides to open up a second front by attacking Israel from Lebanon, they will face an onslaught from Israel that may be backed by the firepower of the United States. And, what they see on the surface is the aircraft carrier. What they don't see are the submarines. And we have naval assets that can deploy very quickly to the region. And if it comes to that, if it comes to the kind of confrontation that Iran escalates, I do think that there's a possibility this may end up with an attack on Iran. And so I think the United States is there, as they have been in the past under both parties' administrations, to say that the United States will back Israel militarily in an attack on Iran. Obama wasn't always there, I should say. Obama often thwarted Israeli efforts to project a military deterrent threat against Iran. But for the most part, the United States has said, we are going to work with Israel if Israel has to do that. Trump certainly said that. Biden hasn't let that slip, although he's tried to negotiate with the Iranians and he's made all kinds of mistakes. But basically, it sends a message that Iran has to think very carefully about its next moves because they may not just involve Israel. He is the senior editor-at-large, Breitbart News, Breitbart.com, for all the coverage, everything you need to know about what happened in Israel over the weekend. Joel, thanks for taking some time out of your day, and have a good week. You too.
It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Fall in Indy. And since 2001, Rhino Shield has been covering Indiana homes and businesses. Just ask Mike.
I was watching TV one night and saw the Rhino Shield ad, and I thought, well, if they can do a house, they can probably do a building.
And Rhino Shield's not paint, it's better.
So they came out and they gave me a price, showed me how the Rhino works, how it lasts, and how the guarantee works.
All right, Indy, get the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield right now for 15% off the regular price.
They started on the building. They waited for us to leave, and they worked Saturday and Sunday so they wouldn't affect our business at all. This was the great part of it. I came back Sunday night, and you couldn't even tell they were here. There was no paint on the ground. They did a fantastic job.
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl. Go Rhino.
Don't
Paint's final. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
If there is blame to go around, it will begin and it will end right here.
That's Joe Hogsett laying out his crime plan back in 2017.
I am responsible.
The results? Over 800 police have left the force, most since the protests when Joe was absent.
I am responsible.
Murders are up 52%, and the odds of getting away with it are better than a coin flip. Only 35% of cases were solved last year.
I am responsible.
Mental health is underfunded. Homelessness on the rise. And now, Indy ranks 4th in lethal overdoses.
I am responsible.
It's just not working.
I am responsible because I happen to be the mayor.
So I ask you, isn't it time for a change?
Paid for by Shreve for Mayor.
PA Jewelers in Brownsburg is your place for fine jewelry, custom pieces, one-of-a-kind pieces, vintage pieces, and also your place to sell jewelry. 3754 South Green Street in Brownsburg, PA Jewelers inside Premier Arms. You have old jewelry from grandma or jewelry you don't wear anymore? Come sell it for top dollar at PA Jewelers. I've sold jewelry there. My wife has. You're going to love the prices. PA Jewelers inside Premier Arms, 3754 South Green Street in Brownsburg, premierarms.com.
Do you have a wet basement problem? Are you tired of cleaning it up after every rain? Hi, I'm Mike Smith with Swain Co. Crawl Space and Basement Repair, a real, local, Indiana family-owned company. Even a small amount of water in your basement can lead to a huge amount of problems. Don't let your wet basement problem get worse. Call Indy's most trusted basement waterproofer, Swain Co. Crawl Space and Basement Repair at 317-407-1868 or swaincollc.com. And ask about our easy, no-interest, no-payment financing.
A lot of schools talk about training the cybersecurity workforce of the future, but do they really deliver? My Computer Career has been supplying the IT workforce with thousands of skilled, certified pros for 15 years. Train with the experts in support, networking, or cybersecurity and start your career in months, not years. Upskill even faster. On campus or live online. Qualified students may get financial aid, including the GI Bill. My Computer Career. Accredited, acclaimed, effective. Take the free career evaluation at mycomputercareer.edu.
By listening to WIBC, you'll learn how to create a secure income plan that is sustainable throughout retirement from Crown Haven Wealth Advisors. Tune into WIBC this Sunday from 9 to 10 p.m.
Discover the power of uncompromised wealth management and unlock your full financial potential. Call 833-GO-ALLWORTH to book your free consultation today. That's 833-GO-ALLWORTH.
Heat and cool places where ductwork won't fit using Mitsubishi electric ductless mini splits. You can even wrap them to match your decor.
Find out more at absolutecomfort.org.
Head to the contest page at WIBC.com and enter for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Trans-Siberian Orchestra on December 26th at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Go to WIBC.com for more info.
Matt Bear has a look at the roads.
Eastbound 465 on the northeast side still closed at I-69 because of a semi-crash. Could be another couple of hours according to INDOT, and it is a crash with injuries. Some of the traffic is stopped back to Keystone Avenue. Also, the ramp from southbound 69 to southbound 465 closed because of that crash, and it has stopped traffic back to 96. It's also made a mess of Fall Creek Road going southbound right now. And then the northbound express lane at East 56th Street is shut down while crews work on the southbound crash. Northbound 465 still stopped from an earlier wreck, 79th to 865. The crash on eastbound has cleared before Michigan Road. A crash clear southbound 465 on the west side at Sam Jones. Still stop and go back to Rockville Road. Traffic sponsored by B Window. Design it before you buy it with B Window. Now for a limited time, get up to 50% off all products, 2.99% financing, and a $550 installation credit. Trust your home to be. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Clear skies, 61 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center at 93 WIBC.
And it takes me back to a simpler place in time.
Sam and Nigel show. Last guests ran long, but it was totally worth it. If you want an in-depth analysis of what really is going on in Israel, go back and listen to our interview with Breitbart Senior Editor-at-Large Joel Pollock. And more coverage after 6 o'clock. My name is Nigel. That's Jason Hammer over there. I reached into the pile of goods here, Hammer. This is where Here, let me just hand this over to you. See what we got here.
Sugarland Shine Sour Blue Raspberry Moonshine. Sour Blue Raspberry. And I like how you handed this to me with the lid open, so I spilled it all over myself.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thanks, Jagoff. All right. Let me pour
You want to lick it off of you?
Let me guess, you're also the same jokester that goes into a restaurant and unscrews the salt and pepper, right? So this is sour raspberry from Sugarlands down in Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
You really got that all over you.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Cheers.
Hate you.
That's good.
That tastes like one of those...
That's good.
Remember those like bomb pop ice cream popsicles where it's red, white, and blue?
Oh, man.
That's what it tastes like here. So that's what we got here. Sugarland's Sour Blue Raspberry Shine.
All right, more Hammer and Nigel show coming up after 6 o'clock, 93 WIBC. Go clean yourself up, man.
Hate you.
Attention business owners, this is John Souza, CEO of ERTC.com. The Employee Retention Tax Credit Program provides up to $26,000 per W-2 employee. If you're confused about the program, stop right now before it's too late. Don't fall for false promises and risk your business. All ERTC companies are not the same. The bottom line, there's no such thing as guaranteed eligibility, and being innovative with tax filings can lead to an audit. At ERTC.com, we won't mislead you to attest to your own eligibility. At ERTC.com, everything is done in-house by expert CPAs, and there's no cost to get started. With the ERTC.com Fast Track Refund Program, you may qualify to get your refund in as soon as 48 hours. Get started today at ERTC.com.
Get your free refund information now. 800-200-3009. 800-200-3009. That's 800-200-3009.
Culture tells teenagers that truth is relative and based on how they feel and how others feel. With this mindset, it's no wonder that depression, confusion, and suicidal tendencies are on the rise in teenagers today. At Life Church, we know a truth and it's not based on feelings. If you have a teenager in your life, invite them to our Truth Conference, October 14th and 15th. For more information, go to lifechurchin.com. This is Tina Pavey, Director of Next Gen Ministries. Parents, you can do this. We will help you.
Get revved up for the return of Indiana Pacers basketball. The season tips off with opening night presented by Kroger on Wednesday, October 25th.
Mathurin into the lane for a two-hand Smith slam, perfectly executed.
Be there for every dime, every dunk, every game-winning basket all season long.
T.J. McConnell with the steal and the basket.
Tickets for all games are now on sale. Fans' Choice and a Pacers Plus plan are also available. Visit Pacers.com/tickets for more info.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Make your money work for you. At Busey Bank, we understand the importance of saving for the future. Our CD specials offer a competitive, secure, short-term option to help give your savings a boost. Visit Busey.com/CD rates or call 1-800-67-BUSEY today. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868.
Tony Katz here for 459 Barber Lounge. You want to look your best? You got to go to the best. 459 has highly skilled barbers and stylists with over 100 years of combined experience. They've been serving Indy for over 20 years. They take care of me, and you're going to love your look after a visit to 459 Barber Lounge. They sell beer and wine, and they're open 7 days a week. Newly expanded, newly renovated, across from the Fashion Mall on 86th Street. 459online.com. That's 459online.com. Tell them Tony Katz sent you.
This is Inside Indiana Business Radio, brought to you by Everwise Credit Union. Discover the financial solutions to control your money and your business at everwisecu.com. I'm Alex Brown. The co-founders of Mellencamp Whiskey say the recently announced partnership with Hard Truth Distilling Company in Brown County is all about keeping with their Indiana roots. Levi Collison says having a local feel was crucial as the partners develop 4 collector's edition whiskeys that will roll out over the next year and a half.
We came together and we're having the conversations about starting up a whiskey business. We wanted to look towards keeping it very local, working with local farmers and a local distillery. We approached multiple companies to work with, and we found Hard Truth here locally.
The first product, Harvest Sweet Mash Rye, is currently available. The next releases will be in spring and fall of 2024 and spring 2025, respectively. 2 education technology apps banked investments at the Mills Crossroads Pitch Competition. Pocket, a band and orchestra catalog and teaching platform, was awarded $10,000 in pre-seed funding. Integrate School, a curriculum and lesson building software, was the seed winner and received $20,000. Indianapolis Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson is expected to miss Sunday's game against the Jacksonville Jaguars because of a sprained AC joint in his right shoulder. Coach Shane Steichen said Monday that Gardner Minshew will make his second start of the season. From the #1 source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
I'm Christopher Day, the CEO of Elevate Ventures. We are the #1 most active venture capital firm in the Great Lakes region and number 20 in the U.S. We invest in innovative Indiana companies. Today, Indiana has monikers including Amateur Sports Capital World, Racing Capital World, and Crossroads of America. Now is our opportunity as a state to chart the next 50 years. The productivity boom is well underway, and Indiana has the opportunity to become the innovation capital of the world. Visit elevateventures.com/Why Indiana to learn more.
The Indiana University Center on Representative Government says it will use a new 3-year, $5.7 million award from the U.S. Department of Defense to expand its civics education and public service careers programming. IU said it will work with several other schools to develop and pilot a new VR tool called Democracy Quest, which will serve to engage students to help them better understand how the government works, ultimately strengthening their civic skills and literacy. I'm Alex Brown for 93 WIBC.
Coming up in 2 minutes, a former Greenwood police officer was found dead at a park Sunday. A man scored a hat trick of arrests, and Indiana football is back in action this weekend against Michigan. All that and more coming up after Fox News Radio from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios. You are listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 6 o'clock.
More Americans among the dead. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Biden now says 11 Americans are confirmed dead in the attacks in Israel. The president's calling it heart-wrenching, saying families have been torn apart by inexcusable hatred and violence. And the president says he's directed his team to work with Israeli counterparts, as there are reports Americans may be among those being held by Hamas. This as Israel's prime minister addresses his country ahead of what he says will be additional Israeli action in Gaza.
Israel's prime minister Benjamin Netanyahu says we've always known what Hamas is. Now the whole world knows. They wanted a war and they will receive a war. He said Israeli forces are still working to find all the terrorists that infiltrated the country and is still working to find the Israelis who are being held hostage. After delivering a statement in Hebrew, Prime Minister Netanyahu delivered one in English.
Hamas will understand that by attacking us, they've made a mistake of historic proportions. We will exact a price that will be remembered by them and Israel's other enemies for decades to come.
He also thanked President Biden and other supporters. In the Hebrew statement, Netanyahu denied reports that Egyptian intelligence warned him ahead of time about what would happen.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal and another militant group is launching attacks on Israel on another front.
Hezbollah, the Lebanese militant group, is involved in the fight now. They say they've lost at least 9 of their fighters in cross-border attacks that they tried to conduct today in Israel's north. And they've also fired rockets and mortars toward an Israeli base, they say. So this is developing very quickly into a multi-front conflict that Israel is facing.
Fox's Trey Yates in southern Israel. Union workers at Mack Trucks have joined the UAW strike after voting down a tentative 5-year contract agreement that negotiators had reached with the company. On Wall Street, stocks made gains as investors consider news of the conflict in Israel. The Dow added 197, the Nasdaq gained 52. America is listening to Fox News.
93